Milk for Health presents the Western New York Youth in Ag Bonanza. Milk for Health presents the Western New York Youth in Ag Bonanza, live to you at home, where youth from the 8 counties of Western New York will compete in livestock judging and showmanship in various categories. Live from the Showplex on the Erie County Fairgrounds in Hamburg, New York, Milk for Health presents the Western New York Youth in Ag Bonanza.
Hey everybody, I'm John DeShulo, and look who's here, Jessica Underberg. We have to be a little socially distanced. Yep. And we're here on Ustream, and we're presenting this, and Kirby Dykert's next to us, so that's the voice we're going to be hearing.
That's right. She's the one that keeps us all on track,
yeah.
John.
So we have our masks on. I got my bandana. Jessica has her embroidered mask. And we're here at the Showplex on the fairgrounds at Erie County, because the Youth in Ag Bonanza that Milk for Health is presenting is what we're talking all about today. And the hogs are here. Tell us about these animals, Jessica.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the ring now, what you're seeing is Pee-wee showmanship. And that just basically means kids ages 4 through 8. Some of them, this is their very first time being in a show ring. You'll see two different breeds. The red ones are Durocs. They have floppy ears. They're what we're called a down-eared hog. And the 2 crossbreds on the far side of the ring, so the one that has a little blue and a little black is called a crossbred. It's not a purebred.
And these are the animals that these little ones have been working with since maybe the birth of the animal.
Yes, I know there's a couple kids in the ring that their family farm breeds and shows pigs, so there's a good chance they met them on their first day of life and have been working with them ever since. And they're washing and clipping and walking and feeding and cleaning pens and, working right alongside of the animal every day.
And we should mention those little whips, if you will, are not hurting the animal. They just kind of touch them to keep them kind of moving.
Yeah, they're kind of like a steering wheel. So the kids, when they want to make them go, if you think about a bike, when you pedal your bike, it makes it go. That's on the side. So they tap the pigs on the side to make them go forward.
We're going to applaud their efforts many times, but those of you all the way back in the barns are out here ringside. Let's give everybody a great big hand for putting this event on for these kids.
And that's our judge right there at the tie-on.
Yes, that's Danny Ahrens.
And it's just awesome to be able to bring so many counties together here. And for those that didn't have a fair, and these youngsters maybe at a lot of these fairs maybe would never even have a chance. Their fairs, maybe only 9 and up. So it's awesome we get these young ones out here and get them started. Throughout the evening, you'll hear me talk in terms of showmanship. That initial gate impression, having that first look, showing me all those angles, that really kind of helps sort yourself from there. And then there's some minor differences among them, and honestly we want to see those animals out on the move as best we can and just try to separate yourself from the crowd, just like here as we are in 2020. Showing pigs kind of becomes that social distancing part, and yet still being able to get them out here and get them driven and separate yourself from the crowd and kind of rise above the rest. The one that did that kind of right off the bat for me just had a little bit different look, a little bit different intensity, having a little bit of trouble here toward the end. The young lady out here on the rail, she's going to win for us. That one for me just came out with that fire and look that we're looking for in terms of being able to drive those. And then gets a lot closer for me between 2 and 3. For second, I'm going to like to use young man over here. I know a lot of us at this age, it's kind of tough to tell those kids, we don't want to touch those pigs, but I'd break that habit of having this hand behind his back real early, because that's a tough one. When you change later, we want to look a little bit more natural, a little bit more relaxed. And I know the reasoning behind it at this age, but it's one of those things I think it'd look a lot more natural if he's able to utilize that offhand. Same thing for the older kids. When you come out here, I'm one of those old school guys. I want to see you switching hands with your whips, utilize both hands, and make sure you're working them through. Third for me is going to be a young lady out on the rail with the blue gilt. That's one that, and again, skin and hair just excellent on that one. Just had a hard time getting that one. That wanted to find the rail early on. I can tell she knows her way around the ring and what she needs to be doing. One for me, though, just need to see her out in the middle more often. And then as we round out our other two, both these youngsters just need to, the hogs are broke. They're definitely tame. Family's done a good job getting them here. We just need to see those out in the center for us more often. Let's give all 5 of these exhibitors a hand.
Sarah Spindler, Cole Schumann, Peyton Britton, Julia Britton, and Savannah Spindler.
Yes.
So we have some families here.
Kiwi showmanship class, your top 3 will go to first place Julia Britton, second Cole Schumann, and third Savannah Spindler. Congratulations to all of those exhibitors, and we'll now move into our junior showmanship division. These showmen are ages 9 to 12 years old. Coming in out of class 1 will be Kelsey Knoll, Easton Pence, Jenna Whitting, Kennedy Whitting, Boston Hackett, and Quinn Pence. Class 2 junior showman, this is your call to ringside.
So we're getting ready for class 2, but right now we're into class 1, and these kids are 9 to 12 years old. And these pens, we should mention, Jessica, we talked earlier at the open of this Ustream, they're socially distanced as well, every other pen.
Yes, usually we would fill all 12 pens in the holding area, but this year just thought it's best that we space everybody out a little bit more and give each exhibitor a little more space than normal and do what we have to do to be able to show livestock here this weekend.
Well, while we get these animals coming out, we do have our sponsors we want to thank, and we're going to go to a quick break, and then we're going to come back with this next junior showman class. And we're here at the Showplex for the Western New York Youth and Ag Bonanza. We're going to be right back with this category of swine right after this.
On behalf of all your Western New York dairy farmers, we assure you that our job has not changed. We are still caring for our animals as we do every day, and we are still producing a clean and healthy product that you can feel safe serving to your families. All the dairy products that reach your table are also on our own family table, never touched by human hands, and from the farm to the grocery store within 48 hours, 365 days a year, through calm or chaos. We promise.
Hello, I'm Ross Salvatore, wishing all the youth competing in the Ag Bonanza good luck. I'm sorry I can't be with you in Hamburg. Remember, hard work and good showmanship pays off. I hope to see you and your families soon at Russell's Steaks, Chops, and more.
All right, the Youth and Ag Bonanza, that's where we're at. Jessica Underberg, the CEO of the Erie County Fair. No fair this year, but we're still having a fair experience with what really counts, the youth.
Yes, this is the heart of the fair. This is how fairs all started, with livestock and exhibitors saying who has the best breeding sheep or who has the best market hog and things like that. So we're back right back to our roots this year.
And this show is what is the judge looking for in these animals with the exhibitors?
Okay, so right now this is showmanship. So the judge is looking for how well the animal and the exhibitor work together. He's looking for, you always want to keep the animal between you and the judge. You want to be able to drive the animal where you want it to go instead of the kid following the pig. And then there are some other things like skin and hair, meaning how clean are they? How well have they been cared for and groomed? And so, John, you
in our
probably don't
junior
know
division
this.
here, we have a couple of heats. I'm just going to like to pull 2 or 3 out each time. We'll rerun them at the end. For our 3 that we have left out and didn't make it all the way through, certainly all 3 really good showmen. I'm sure with your respective counties have had a good show career so far, and will continue to do so in the future. And all 3 of these kids, I encourage you, whether it's here at Eastern Regional or other shows on down the line, by no means, you should be proud to come and you compete in those classes all the way through in your age groups. Some little things I would change about each of these 3 that are left out here, though. For me, both of the young ladies wanted to bring that whip back onto the loin and rump section of that hog too often for me. If you do need to get that one going for speed, which I appreciate, try to bring that whip down in that lower flank. And then our other exhibitor out here driving the belted one with the spot here, that one for me, just need to see it be able to utilize and switch hands a little bit more comfortably. When you're on the right side of that pig, you do a great job driving it. But when we get crossed up there, you're not able to reach as far and end up driving that pig more off its shoulder than its face. And if you notice, as you go back and look at the video, you do so much better in terms of presenting that hog on one side. So when you come out in market class, don't necessarily be worried about being on the correct side. Just get that barrow presented as nicely as you do there. But do a really good job. Just need to work on switching hands a little bit more effectively there. But good job, all 3 of these exhibitors.
So what didn't we know about, Jessica?
So if you look at the black animals in the ring, John.
It's always awkward here as we get into this year, but we're going to avoid the shaking hands and everything. We'll just tell you congratulations and all that stuff, but social distancing, we want to do what's right for your sheep and goat exhibitors and everybody else coming here next weekend and try to keep a great thing going that you have here.
Keep going.
So the black hogs, and you'll see.
Oh, yeah, so you can keep talking. You can keep going.
So if you look at a black hog, if you're doing really good job with skin and hair, or a red hog, you actually take them out in the sun and suntan them.
Wow.
So just like you and I, we look a little better with a tan than we do pale white, and the animal will look a little bit better. So there's actually products that you can put on their skin and oil-based, and you put them on, and if you have white on the animal, you put sunscreen on that part, and you take them out and walk them in the sun.
Wow, how about that? How about that?
The junior classes to come back and compete for our champion reserve junior showman.
So now we're into class 2. Yep.
Still 9 to 12-year-olds.
Yeah, with Leslie Mesh,
Yep.
Trig Knoll,
Yep.
Maya Lindsley,
Chloe Landfair.
Lexi Fettleplace,
Yep.
Ashlyn Hackett, and Gabriella Simmons.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, so again, kids 9 to 12, some of them, this might not be their very first year, but they're early on in their show career. But some kids, you can tell, have it down pat. One thing that you look for is you look for an exhibitor and an animal that kind of blend. You don't see the exhibitor as much. You should see the animal the most. And you can tell kids have worked and learned how to maneuver their animal around the ring.
It's interesting to me because you have these animals and, they're kind of meeting each other for the first time, the animals, and they're all sort of just like, oh, well, they're just kind of moving along.
Sure.
Nothing too outrageous.
So, John, if you see the young lady right in the center of the ring with the checkered shirt with the black hog, look at the pig's ear on the one side. That's what we call a crinkle ear.
Yeah,
it's kind of folded back permanently.
Right.
Now, that young lady probably had to make sure that when you give the pigs a bath that you didn't get water in its ear, because just like us, pigs will get water in their ear and then they will shake, and then it's almost like an ear infection. It really bothers them and it bothers their stability.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's something where when you give the animal, the pig, the bath, you have to be careful.
Yeah, so my kids have shown one like that before, and the girls always just kind of held washed them and made sure. You got to just be super careful with that air. But other than that, nothing wrong with them. Just born that way.
And in the situation with each one of these young people, they may have other pigs in their farm why did they select these particular animals, do you think?
Well, I think the kids, number one, for showmanship, you always want an animal that works well with you. It's like having a great dance partner. Some people might be great people, but they're not your best dance partner.
Sometimes it's a disadvantage being the first heat or second heat, vice versa. For me, I'm really confident in the top 4 I have sorted off there to be my top 4 no matter how many I hold back. So I'm just going to have those 4 stay back. For the ones that are left out here in the ring, some things for you all to improve on in the years to come. For the young man here nearest to me, maybe he gets the best haircut of the day. You know, he wins that award. But certainly, as we get out here, and in terms of driving a barrel, that's one that's dead broke. You've done an excellent job. I can tell you worked really hard with him all summer. In terms of, I just need to see you move up a little bit further. You're driving that one, again, off of his shoulder quite a bit, especially when you're driving that belted hog. Take advantage of that black area on his face and be able to drive him up off of his snout a little bit more for me. You do a great job when you move up on him at times. Just get too far back on the tail of that animal. A young lady here in the pink, another one that does a really good job. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but again, a lot of it comes down to whip placement for me. And again, we need to work on those turns a little bit at times. Got a little bit not as aggressive on your turns in terms of when you did a really nice job, though. A young lady in the solid blue here in front of me, one that's so calm, cool, and relaxed. I just want to see you get a little bit more drive out of that gilt. Get her out, get her going. It's tough out here in these deeper shavings, I know, but that's one if we just can pick it up a little bit. Presentation, excellent on that one as well. Again, got kind of bottled up in the corner over here when you went to make that turn for me as well. You got maybe a little bit crossed up between you and myself, but and then another one that just found the edges out there too much. A young lady on the far side, and then young lady at the Duroc gilt. If we just use more of the ring, make those turns a little bit bigger, sweeping wider turns, and not turn that gilt right on a dime for me every time, could certainly work your way up here into our top 4 as well. But again, let's give them all a hand as they head out.
And our judge, you said...
Congratulations. In Heat 2, staying to compete will be Ms. Ashlyn Hackett of Java Center, New York.
He's a 6th grade teacher, you said.
6th grade math teacher.
Yeah.
Yes. Has a small farm operation with some hogs.
So he understands children.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
that's important to know.
That is important. So,
yeah, go ahead.
So, John, next we're going to move into our champion and reserve champion junior showman selection.
We'll now invite back those showmen that were asked to stay back and compete for your top 4 junior showmen out of Heat 1. Coming out to compete right now is Ms. Jenna Whitting. Coming out of Pen 2 is Miss Quinn Pence.
So from the classes we just saw...
Pen 3, Easton Pence.
Here they come. And
Out of Pen 4, Miss Ashlyn Hackett.
so
If
now,
you could join me in putting your hands together and congratulating our top 4 junior showmen.
So, John, as you watch the kids, you'll notice some kids are maybe hunched over and some stand up straight.
Yeah.
Some take larger steps and some take smaller steps. Really comes down to the kids' showing style and what they're comfortable with. But you'll also notice there's some out there who have some serious intensity.
I've noticed the young man in the blue. He got that look on his face.
Yeah, and he's out there to show the judge that I'm here and I want it.
Yep.
And there's a couple other exhibitors in there. In fact, all 3 young ladies have that look of determination, watching the judge and making sure where he is and also where the pig is.
The pig is looking at the judge too. I noticed that.
So we call walking a pig, we call him driving a pig.
Yeah.
And so you always want to drive your pig with the head up. Just gives a better appearance and look. And so now what he's trying to do is you should never keep the animal between you and or never let the animal be, or you be in between the animal and the judge. So he'll walk around and see if the kids switch sides.
Oh, well, why is that?
Just because your job as a showman is to present the animal in the best way possible.
I see.
And if the judge is looking at you instead of the animal, that's not the best way for the animal.
Can the exhibitor touch the animal to move it?
In showmanship, it depends. Some judges say no, and some say it's okay. Now, you'll see sometimes people put maybe 3 fingers on their back. Some will use a hand to move them. But in showmanship, you typically try to be hands-off. You should be able to drive that pig with the show stick or the whip as best as you can without laying hands on the animal.
And how old are these animals?
If I had to guess, they're probably born in March, maybe
so
April.
They're young.
Yeah, they could be Februaries too.
Yeah. They're pretty big for an animal born just a few months ago.
Pigs can gain weight really, really fast.
Yeah.
It is not uncommon for a pig in its prime to gain, 3 pounds a day.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. How long is the lifespan of a pig?
Well, it depends. Some people have sows as far as 5 and 6 years old. They get pretty big.
Yeah.
They get to be sometimes 500-700 pounds.
Interesting color on the one there with the pink and the gray.
Yeah.
Get out of here in junior division drive. As mentioned in the heat there, really confident in our top 4 and where you go with them. And even within those, I think the 2 young ladies out here to my left side certainly rise to the top in a really, really tough duo here, I guess, in terms of where you sort them. And honestly, the young lady with driving the Yorkshire Appearing Gilt, that one maybe didn't hit me as hard right when it came through the gate, but get her some space out here among just the 4 of them, and she does so many of the fundamentals right and still maintains that constant intensity. The young lady in the green certainly has that good eye contact. Maybe loses that a little bit with me on that drive away, just as you did there. That's maybe where I just separate the 2. And then again, when I go down to the ground out there, I was really kind of just waiting to see if anybody would tie a front view and a rear view together for me. That's one of those things that, as we're judging the stock later in the day, I want you to make that job as easy as you can on me. And if I go down to the ground like that, I'm looking to see how those hogs drive right toward me and right away from me. And it's nice to be able to tie those 2 things together. That's where I sort these 2 young ladies. Young lady with the Yorkshire Appearing Gilt is going to be 1. The young lady out here to my left is going to be 2nd. Again, really, really tough pair to sort out. I like the young lady that are driving the Yorkshire incredibly well in terms of getting those fundamentals, knowing those holes where to be at all times. Third for me is going to be a young man on the far side. Another one, just excellent job right when he hit the gate. As we get out here, maybe got a little bit further away, wanted to use too much of the ring at times. And the young lady that falls here in 4, with her maybe just a bit too aggressive with that little gilt. If we just back off the whip a little bit, let that gilt kind of get out and go, settle into herself. Could certainly work your way up the line as well, but a great way to lead us off here in our juniors.
So he made the selections.
Congratulations.
Yes.
In our junior showmanship division, your champion junior showman will go to Ms. Ashlyn Hackett of Javis Center, New York. Reserve champion junior showman will go to Quinn Pence of Randolph, New York. 3rd, Easton Pence, and 4th, Jenna Whitting. Now in the ring, we'll look to start our intermediate showmanship division. These showmen are ages 13 to 16 years old. First class in the ring will be Macy Knoll, Nathan Blair, Ted Conheiser, Ella Underberg, Rachel Harper, Allison McNamara, Amelia Mall, Aaron Hayes, Riley Palmer, and Trevor Beats. Attention to all exhibitors. For those of you that are in classes of more than 5 animals, we will load the chutes 5 animals at a time. So if the first 5 animals are already in the holding pens before you get here, you will be asked to wait until those animals enter the ring to enter into the holding pens.
So Jessica, I see Ella. Is that a relationship?
That's my daughter.
Yeah, right.
That's my youngest. So another thing, John, that they try to do is you should always show the judge all angles of your pig.
We are looking for Amelia
so
Mall and
front
Ted
view,
Conheiser.
side view,
Ted
rear view.
Conheiser and Amelia
And then you always want to
Mall, we are
stay
looking for you
10 to
ringside.
15 feet away. You never want to be right on top of the judge.
This will
But
be
you
the
don't want to
first
be
call
so far
for
back
class
that you can't
2
see him either.
junior intermediate showman, class 2
pigs kind of get a bad
showman, make
rap
your way
a
to
little bit,
ringside.
Jessica, don't they? I mean, they're a really very clean animal.
They're extremely clean and extremely smart. If they have enough space, they will go to the bathroom in one area, eat in another, and sleep in another.
Oh, good for them.
But what people don't know is that pigs don't have sweat glands. So the only way for a pig to cool off is for that pig to roll in mud or sloppy water. So that's why they look dirty.
There goes the bad rap.
That's
Just
right.
trying to keep cool.
I know.
Yeah.
But it also is good to know that when it's really, really hot day, the worst thing to do is to throw cold water on the back of a pig.
Why
Yeah.
would that be?
Because you put them into shock. So you always start with cool water at its feet, get the feet cool, work your way up, and then you can soak the entire hog.
So when these piglets are born, these children work with them from the time of their birth, really, until this moment.
Yeah, if they're on a pig farm, they would do that. Like my daughters buy the pigs when they're about 80 pounds.
Oh.
So, and then they bring them home, so they're off the mama, onto grain, and can be away from the mama at that point.
Now, we had the show earlier with the dairy cattle and the various breeds. Are there various breeds of pigs?
Yes. So most everything in the ring now looks to be a crossbred. Now, if you look at the black ones with the white belts,
Yeah.
those are Hampshire-looking pigs. And if you think about pig breeds that end in shire, S-H-I-R-E,
And there are a lot of them.
Yorkshire,
Berkshire,
Hampshire, Berkshire. Those are what we call up-eared hogs. So if you look
Up-eared.
at their heads, their ears stand up on top of their heads.
So a pig breed with Shire, Yorkshire, Berkshire,
And Hampshire.
or Hampshire
Yep.
have the up ears.
Up ears.
Got
Now,
it.
if you see a Duroc, like the red ones we saw, they are what we call down-eared hogs.
Oh.
Their ears are down. It makes it harder to drive them with their head up because they can't see up as easily. So you'll see spot pigs like that. I'm not sure if we have any spots here this weekend. Trying to think of what else. Chesters, Landrace, all are down-eared hogs. But if it ends in a shire, you can be pretty sure it's an up-eared hog.
And pig farming in Western New York, we just heard a lot about dairy farming. I've not heard too much about pig farming. Is it as
Well,
big
it's not as common as
not as
dairy.
prominent, yeah.
It's probably most common in Iowa, Illinois,
Okay.
the Midwest. But there are definitely pig farms in Western New York.
And I kind of like these animals. They just seem like fun to be around, too.
They are
as,
fun.
As crazy as that may sound. And I would think, too, the young people have an affinity for their animal, and they name it probably. And
They do. They'll name their animals. You spend a lot of time with them. For an Erie County fair, typically the kids would get their animals in about April. So you spend those 4 months or so with the animal. Every day they need to be fed and walked.
Yeah.
And they don't get washed every day because you don't want to dry their skin out. So just for instance, and at home, my kids will wash probably 3 days a week, and they use a special whitening shampoo that whitens the light.
right.
And I take them back to the barn, and they use an old bath towel, not a new one like they did maybe once, and they dry them off, and then they rub cocoa butter into the pig.
Oh, cocoa. These pigs are treated better than people,
The
Jessica.
pigs
Oh,
are
cocoa
treated
butter.
better than most people. At our farm, each pig has its own pen, its own feeder, its own water, and its own fan.
How
and
many,
in the
how many
winter-
pigs do you have?
Right now we have 4, and we're about to expand to 6.
Is that the average number of pigs a pig farm would have, or could it go to
we
many
just
more?
do show pigs. So a little later, you're going to talk to Rodney Spindler, and he's going to talk to you a little bit about how many sows he has and how many pigs he has on his farm. That's just a little show pig operation. There's kids that have just 2, and there's kids that probably have 20 on feed for a show.
While we're waiting for the judge, and he'll be up in just a little bit, this, again, means a lot to you because you and your team have put together this show, socially distanced, people wearing masks, a lot of detail went into it, and it's the only thing happening on the fairgrounds this season.
Yeah. We started out with a plan and had to change that plan probably 10 times to be able to get where we are today.
Yeah, I
but
bet.
it didn't matter. Whatever the rules were, whatever we needed to do, we were ready to do.
I asked him at the onset of this, are we judging showmanship like a jackpot show or a county fair? Because in my mind, that goes 2 different directions, and the staff asked me to kind of run it like a jackpot show. So I'm just out here to have the kids drive and pull off the ones I see best fit to make it on to the next round. And there's a lot of good ones out here that are left out that at a county fair we'd be spending all kinds of time talking about and telling you about all the things they do right. Too often when the judge gets out here on the mic, it's easier to point out those flaws, but it's that one thing that I want you to work on the next time that you come back in here today. You know, for each of these kids out here, the one that was closest for me is the young lady whose barrow started to shut down on her here in the center a little bit toward the end. And I think at times a lot of that is just getting so much drive out of that one early. I just want to see you slow down on the whip. Got a bit aggressive, and we went over to corner, maybe bottled up on me a little bit too close with the crowd there. The young lady certainly does a great job. Young lady driving the Yorkshire Appearing Gilt. Another one that, for me, offers so many good things in terms of demeanor and ring presence and calm and all that. For me, the one little nitpick thing I'm going to pick on, you know, she's so dominant left-handed there. At times, she crosses herself over. I need to see you open up a little bit more, be able to reach all the way around that gilt. You have her dead broke. I'm sure you could take her all the way down the slide if you wanted to tonight. But that's one. We just need to maybe make you look a little bit more natural out here with her. Young man over here next. Another one that's just so calm, cool, collected. I just need to see that barrel catch another gear, get going for you. Maybe didn't have as good a hole shot as some of the others. When I give you guys room to come out of these pens, you need to hit at least 2, if not 3 views when you come out of that gate. You want to make that first impression when you come on out. some of these exhibitors just kind of blew right on by me. We changed that. They certainly worked themselves into a pen right away as well.
Congratulations on a Heat 1 in our intermediate showmanship. Coming out of Heat 1 will be Nathan Blair, Ella Underberg, and Aaron Hayes. Now we'll invite in Class 2 of our intermediate showmen. We'll be looking for Erica Konheiser, Hallie Boardman, Kyra Pence, Serenity Heim, Jocelyn Mesh, Aubrey Gearhart, Cody Knoll, Sydney Simons, Morgan Griffin, Owen Poling, and Emily Chapman. Heat 3, intermediate showman, this is your call to ringside. Heat 3, intermediate showman, this is your call to ringside.
So we're in Class 2 now of the 13 to 16-year-olds in the intermediate. And these animals are coming out of their pens, cages, right?
Yep.
And they love the shavings, and a lot of them. This is like a deep snow.
It is
that's
pretty
here in the
deep.
showplex.
It is pretty deep,
Yeah.
John.
So again, we're working with the animals. We're watching the young people, and the colors, Jessica. I mean, we noticed on some of the cows earlier and the cattle. Is there a certain kind of color that you see often in pigs? I'm seeing a lot of pink and black.
Yeah, pink and black, or we call white and black, white and blue, kind of the gray
Yeah.
color. The other one that just walked past the judge is what we call a calico pig, kind of
Calico.
3 different colors. I don't think we see any color more than another, but it, as time goes on, the blue wasn't something we saw too much of at first, and now we see more of. So the interesting thing about this class age group, John, is that this is the 12 to
12 to
or 13 to
13 to 16,
16-year-olds,
yeah. Mhm.
which is usually right before boyfriends and girlfriends start.
Oh, yeah.
So the kids are still really laser focused in on the animals, and they can't drive yet.
See how real life factors right in to all of this, Jessica?
Sure does.
Yep. Well, and these families are from Western New York, and all the 8 counties of Western New York are competing in the Ag Bonanza. And, they get their ribbons, but now on the Ustream, they get a chance to be seen across the world, basically, whoever's watching. And I think that's exciting because the folks that couldn't be here are actually at home watching and seeing them compete.
Yeah, I heard on the dairy show there was a grandma that was watching the dairy show that was really excited that she got to watch the show. So thank you so much to our sponsors, and obviously to you, John. You're a great friend of the fair, and
thanks.
Chris. We appreciate the relationships that we have with WBVZ and our sponsors.
Well, we're very welcome. We're honored to be here. And I'm learning a lot. Jessica, I said earlier during the cattle show, I'm like Regis Philbin. I'm a guy from the city, and I don't know anything. And I'm learning a lot. And I should mention with some of the information that I found, in case you didn't know, a gilt is a female pig.
Right.
So with that, what are the sexes of the pigs that we're seeing?
So you're going to only see gilts in barrows today. You will not see a boar.
And a barrow is a neutered male pig.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So a gilt is a female pig, a barrow is a neutered male pig,
Yep.
and a male pig is
A boar.
a boar. That's
yeah,
right. Okay.
a boar. And a sow.
Not an
would-
attitude or anything, just a boar.
Just a boar.
B-O-A-R. Yeah.
B-O-A-R, right.
Yeah.
And a sow would be a gilt who has had babies.
Okay.
Okay. Gestation period on pigs, 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 days.
You have that right down to the nickel.
Right down to the nickel.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm sure Rodney will talk lots more about that with you.
So the folks that you have here today and these young people, they had their animals here today, and then they'll take them back to
We'd
their
like to remind all the
farms
visitors that
tonight.
in the holding pens, when
Some
you are
will,
loading into the
John.
holding pens to come into
Some
the
will
show
take
ring,
them. Some have
you need
sold
to
them
go in
for
every
meats.
other pen. Do not pen next to each other in the holding pen. Please make it easier on our staff and go in every other pen.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. I mean, because some of the children sell their animal for auction.
Right, so Erie County 4-H right now, if you go on to bontragerauctions.com, you can look at the animals that are up for sale. If you are interested in a high-quality product, home-raised, well-cared for, that's the place to go and look.
And
For our
that's
exhibitors we have
here we
left
are.
out here. There's 2 that are really close for me. That young lady driving the belted barrow with the dots in his belt here. I wish that barrel wanted to get in that final drive of showmanship as bad as the young lady does. We just need some more go out of that barrel. Young lady's working her tail off out here. Unfortunately, that barrel's just not giving her everything that she wants today. And then our other young lady here, kind of the opposite of that, the blue gilt kind of one out here built for NASCAR, and that one just wants to go. At times that gilt gets a little bit over too far on the rail for me, though. We just need to see her be able to stay out in the middle more often. When she does get that good pass, that good drive, she's as good as any of them out here. Just need to see it all put together throughout the entire drive. So the others, again, we come down to just that intensity and look that those two young ladies offer. We just need to see it more consistent throughout the drive. The young man going through the center now. Another one has a hog, the skin and hair, looking really good there. We just need to simply see a little better eye contact on that drive away. At times maybe lost me a little bit there with his eyes. But another one that's really broke, does a great job out here. Let's give them a hand as they exit for us.
Now we'll get the names from Kirby.
Congratulations. In Class 2, coming back to compete will be Kyra Pence and Cody Knoll. Now in the ring, we'll invite in Class 3 of our intermediate showmen. This will be your final heat of intermediate showmen. Be looking for Brooke Urinick, Lily Underberg, Amelia Hinch-Strube, Mandy Hurlbert, Patrick DeJoseph, Chloe Fettice, Hannah Cross, Jack Holscher, Colden Hackett, Aiden Dobson, and Anna Hayes.
So they're going to come out now into the pen, and all these animals are going to be with them. And Jessica, we're going to take another short break, and then we're going to come back and continue to find out what we're going to see here at the Showplex for the Western New York Youth and Ag Bonanza. We're going to take a short break and find out from some of the people who helped bring this to you on Ustream and WBBZ.TV. So we'll be back in just a second.
Milk and cheese and yogurt make me sing every day, 'cause milk is amazing. Drink milk to grow up with strong bones. 3 times a day, vitamin D and calcium. So drink it with chocolate, put it on your pizza. How about berries? It's always a treat. Milk is amazing.
The Erie County Fairgrounds in Hamburg, New York. One of the Northeast's premier agriculture and entertainment destinations. Home to the Erie County Fair, the Fairgrounds Event Center, Buffalo Raceway, Hamburg Gaming, and host to nationally recognized livestock, ag industry shows, and award-winning ag education programs. Annually, the state-of-the-art Agriculture Discovery Center and Showplex buildings attract thousands of participants and their livestock for events like the Empire State Beef Classic, the Spring Dairy Preview, and the National Junior Swine Association Eastern Regional Hog Show. Located near Buffalo and the U.S.-Canadian border, the Erie County Fairgrounds is a convenient drive from points across the East. Where competitors and champions grow, we'll see you soon at the Erie County Fairgrounds in Hamburg, New York.
All right, welcome back to the Western New York Youth and Ag Bonanza. Jessica Underberg is here, the CEO of the fair, and you have another family member in the pen right now.
We do. My oldest Lily is in the showmanship class.
Now, we talked about the animals and the fact that some of them are for sale, and I can't help but ask, as an individual, with a young daughter, I know she gets close to things. I would think these children get close to their animals, and yet they know that at some point they might be sold or will be sold eventually.
Right.
And that's a part of life's journey.
It is. So we start the project knowing this is how the world gets fed. So we know that they'll be with us for a short time, and while they're with us, we care for them humanely and give them all the affection and love, and kids really, really have a good time with the animals.
Yeah.
It's been fun to watch some of these kids grow up. You'll notice there's one girl that we show with quite a bit, Anna Hayes. One thing about showing animals is that it allows every kid of all abilities to show animals.
That's important to note because it has to be equal and inclusive and, with everybody.
John, look, she got a pen. Anna got a pen.
Good for you. Good for her.
Might be the best day ever.
And that's Anna right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anna right there with her dad.
So how close are you to Anna? You've probably seen her at different shows?
Yeah. That family has 3 girls, and
Yeah.
my 2 girls, and all kind of hang around together at different shows. I just saw Lily give her the thumbs up and say, good job.
Yeah. And that camaraderie, because they see each other at the various shows, although not this year. There probably haven't been any shows, have there, Jessica?
There have been a few, not many. Not many. But, on an average year, we would show around the state of New York, 5-6 times.
Sure.
A couple times here in Hamburg. And then we show at regional and national shows. And you get to kind of build relationships with kids. And I would say the one thing is, yes, they are fierce competitors. But at the end of the day, they're still the best of friends.
Yeah, they get through with their animals, and it's a competition, but it's unique because the animal is as much a part of it as the exhibitor.
You definitely need a good dance partner in showmanship.
So we're seeing a few of the animals. Now, the fact that some of them went back into the cages and the pens, what does that mean?
That means they've done
It's
a good
hard
job and
as
they're going to be
we
held
thin
back.
the crowd down. There's more and more that jump up, and I want to keep getting them off to the side to hold them back. We'll almost have to do a semifinal for this intermediate final, and where we got a little bit bigger division. I'll get you down to a top 5 eventually here. The one that almost made it here at the very end, didn't really jump out at me till the end. A little different style in terms of showmanship. 3 years ago, I guess I really gravitated toward here. The young lady driving this blue rumped one here toward me, but that's one, or predominantly a light one, I guess. But for me, that's one, I guess, I want to see you get just a little bit more aggressive. We're really talking about trying to run that whip hand more parallel to the pig. Do just an exceptional job. I like how you're calm, cool, laid back. And again, like I said, 3 years ago, probably would be in our top 3 here. Just a little bit changing the times of driving these pigs a little bit harder, getting a little bit more out of them while still maintaining some level of comfort for the exhibitor. Young lady driving the black gilt, similar to one we cut in that last heat, wants to get everything she can out of that gilt. That gilt just disappointing for her out here tonight. Doesn't offer as much in terms of getting out here and wanting to get out and go. A little bit too much start and stop for me. But let's give these exhibitors a hand as they head out.
Boy, he really sees things that I can't believe.
Yeah, that's what a judge trains for. So, John, there's actually schools. There are judging teams at different colleges around the country to learn to do exactly what Mr. Ahrens is doing for us today. So a lot of these kids will do judging competitions to learn how to be a judge.
One is Miss Ella Underberg.
Well, here comes Ella, and I just heard Lily's name mentioned, so she's going to hang in there for a little bit.
A little bit longer.
Also out of Class 1 is Miss Nora Hayes of Holland, New York. Aaron.
So now we're going to see,
Coming out is Aaron Hayes of
we're
Holland,
seeing
New
this
York.
Class 3.
So we're taking the kids from class
Next out will be Mr.
1,
Nathan
2,
Blair of Elma,
and
New
3,
York.
the top end of all of those kids. And we're driving for the champion intermediate
Coming out
showman
of
and
Class
the reserve
2,
champion
Mr. Cody
intermediate
Knoll
showman.
of Chaffee, New York. Also out of Class 2, Miss Kyra Pence of Randolph, New York.
It's really fun to watch these kids and watch them
Joining
grow
us out
up
of
and
Class
change
3
and
is Miss Amelia
get their skills honed in a little bit better.
Springfield,
And
New
like I
York.
said, the first 2 out, Ella and Aaron, have been good friends right from the start and still out here competing and having a good time.
So now from this group, we're going to find the champion in the intermediate.
We're going to bring the rest out, I believe.
Davis Center,
Okay.
New York.
This is Ella's boyfriend, John.
Oh,
So Ella's competing against her boyfriend.
wow, we're sharing lots of information here about the Underberg family on live on Ustream for the whole wide world. Your daughter can't wait to hear that you mentioned that.
I'm sure.
We like about you, Jessica.
Now entering the ring
Right
is
out
Miss
there.
Anna
That's right.
Hayes of Holland, New York.
Getting to know some of these young people, do they have other animals on their
Next
farms?
in, coming out of Class 3
Some
is Mr.
show
Jack Fisher of
horses.
Boston,
Some of
New
the
York.
kids show poultry. Some of the kids show beef. I'm just trying to see what else, what other
And
kids
last
are out
but certainly
here.
not
Sheep.
least is Miss Hannah Cross
Sheep.
Yeah,
of
you might see
Kennedy,
him next
New York.
weekend.
If you
Hannah
could join me
does
in
very
putting your
well in
hands
the show
together
ring
for
with
all of
sheep.
Our intermediate showmen at the Western New York Youth and Ag Bonanza.
There's a lot of animals in that pen.
The
They're
judge
all-
has got his hands full,
I
doesn't
was
he?
going to say, how do you, I mean, and everybody just seems to be getting along,
Yeah.
which
So
is what we should all be in the world, just
that's
like
right,
these animals.
just like the pigs
getting
today.
along.
Minding your own beeswax
Yeah.
and getting along, right?
Yeah. I love the music you're playing. It's a whole mix of country and pop and
Yep.
oldies and newbies. Keeps us motivated.
That's right. There's been times at our Western New York Hog Preview Classic that we've had to show pretty late in the night, so sometimes the music really keeps you energized and moving.
It's good to have that. We should mention Clyde's Feed and Animal is one of our sponsors, and in Hamburg and Lockport, and Jim over there is a great supporter of the fair. What does the pig generally eat?
So there's different corn rations and different percents of protein, but one great thing about Clyde's being here in Hamburg is they sell all the different things that you might need to tweak, adding more muscle, leaning it out. So one thing, John, is we have 4 pigs in our barn right now, and not one of them eat the same diet. So just like my husband and I can't eat the same food, each animal is fed for its metabolism and its rate of gain, and so each animal is just a little bit different.
And that's in order for them to grow into the animal that they need to be,
Yep.
so that they can be lean and mean and make themselves worthy for market.
Yep.
For what the pig will deliver for us as a food source.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We hear a lot about organic, and I see it all over the place. Is there something organic about how an animal would be fed?
That's a good question.
Yeah. Well, we'll hold on that. Yeah. We'll think about that one.
There we go.
But again, it's most important that
Well,
they're
as I
fed
was
the
waiting
right
for the
thing.
show to get started, scrolling through Facebook, you every now and then you get those viral videos, and there was one this week out of Pike County. Not going to steal the guy's whole final drive speech, give him credit, but he mentioned that winning is simply getting to be here today, and the playing field isn't always level, and for one young lady that I've had the pleasure of watching since clear back at her county fair, probably 5 years ago. Still get to see the family all the time. If you guys could see how much better this young lady has gotten in the last 6 years of showing pigs, and just how much she's matured out here and able to get that hog driven. I'll argue with any of you all day long about her making it into our semifinal here. So does just an outstanding job, as well as many of these other exhibitors out here.
And just so our photographer would know, Chatham.
And it's almost,
the young lady he's
that
talking
judge
about is
mentioned
in
in his
the
final
kind of,
drive speech
The
that,
green
we're trying to
shirt
play
with the
good all the time, and
dangling
it's-
necklace and her
it's
scarf,
not always
driving the
fair,
black
and it's
belted
really
pig.
almost
And what's
not
her name
fair,
again?
That
for
is Anna
so many of
Hayes.
these
Anna
kids
Hayes.
out here, not that they're familiar faces to me that maybe make our top 5, but there's a reason they're familiar faces. When I judge them at their neighboring county 3, 4, 8 years ago, whatever it was, they were really good then, and it's hard to get worse. They're still really, really good, and it gives you rest of you guys back here in the barn ones to aspire to beat and wake up every morning to go out there and try to get better, to get out here and beat those ones that are over in the pens. I think we have a couple young men out here who do just an exceptional job. For me, at times, it comes down to pace and a little bit of whip placement. Young man with the blue one, if I get you to bring the same intensity you bring with your whip, I think you could certainly work your way over there. Young man driving the belted gilt, one for me, just a little bit different style, a little bit different look out of you. If I get you to get down, get after it as a taller showman myself, I can appreciate the fact that it's a little bit tougher, but we need to get you down, get a little bit more into it with that gilt to work up against those others there in our top 5. But again, let's give them all a great big hand. We'll rework your top 5.
Congratulations in our intermediate division, coming back to compete for your top 6 intermediate showmen. Nathan Blair, Ella Underberg, Aaron Hayes, Kyra Pence, Lily Underberg, and Amelia Hint-Strube.
That's great. Boy, Jessica,
Leading
that
the
was,
place
he
in
got
event
emotional.
Right now is Miss
He did.
Tyra
Well,
Morris
like
of
we
Randolph,
talked about
New
at the
York.
beginning, John, the nice thing about showing animals is it allows everybody of all abilities to be on an equal playing
Now
field and
entering
show
the ring
them.
is Miss
And I'm
Ella
sure,
Underberg,
I'm sure
Springville,
Mr.
New
Aaron's,
York.
he's a school teacher, so I'm sure he has dealt with all kinds of different abilities and knows quite
Now
how to
entering the
handle
ring
that,
is
and it
Miss Nathan
obviously
Blair of
touches a soft
Elma, New
spot.
York.
So now these are the next group of exhibitors that Kirby's introducing us to.
Yeah, so this is the top part of those probably 30 kids we just saw.
Now in the ring is Miss Amelia Hintstrube of Springville, New York.
Amelia's done a really good job all season. She's a great showman no matter what she's showing, whether it's beef
Now
or
in the ring
sheep
is
or
Miss
hogs.
Lily Underberg, Springville, New York.
How many children do you have, Jessica?
Just 2 girls.
2 girls, okay. Which is great.
Yep.
Now in the ring is
I will
Miss
say
Erin
that
Hayes, Holland,
during
New
the
York.
pandemic issues,
If you
having
could
animals
join
in the
me
barn
putting your
has
hands together for
made
our
things a
top
little more
6
normal for our
intermediate
family.
showmen
Yeah.
here at the Western New York Youth in Ag Bonanza.
Well, one animal's getting a little
Yeah, they
attitude.
get a little tired sometimes, and it's kind of like, if I went out and tried to run a marathon right now, I'd get kind of cranky about mile 1.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So,
We talked a little bit about the weather. Today's a perfect day. The temperature, the air, and now it's starting to, the sun's starting to set. So it's cooling down even more.
it
It's
is
been
a
a perfect
perfect day
day.
to show pigs and be at the fairgrounds showing livestock.
And we're on Ustream, and we'll be here until this concludes. And tomorrow you have shows as well.
Right. So tomorrow we have the beef show that starts at 11 o'clock. Our judge is Mr. Mike Sinan. He's been here a number of times. Great gentleman with the kids. He actually, John, when we announced we're doing the Bonanza, called and said, I'll come and help.
Good for him.
And then we also have poultry and rabbit exhibitors coming in tomorrow. They're going to come in and show and go home the same day.
Poultry and rabbit.
Yes.
And that's going to be happening in a different place.
Yes, that's going to actually happen in Barn 2. So that won't be on our live stream, but I believe we're going to try to catch the winners
Yeah,
and
we'll
do a little
catch
talk.
the winners on the main feed. There might be a separate camera that I think might be picking up that. But definitely we'll mention the winners
Yes.
when we're back.
Just don't think we had Wi-Fi over there.
Yeah, sometimes that happens in this technological world. Sometimes we're good, and sometimes we're not good. But we're trying. and we're
first
doing,
time you probably broadcasted in a barn.
Yeah, well, actually the second.
Okay.
Yeah, we did some game shows here a couple of years ago. It was
That's
the
right.
hottest day of my life, Jessica. But we got through it, and we had a good time.
That's right.
And we should mention here in the Showplex, where these animals are, we're in a different portion of the Showplex. So if people have been watching all day long, the cattle were behind us. Now we're in the area where you have the set up for the pigs. And there's still more room.
Yes,
You have
it's
a
a
lot
big
of
building.
buildings. And that is great because you've been able to build, you as CEO and your board. been
Well,
able
that's
to
usually
build
why I
these
try and
great
talk from
buildings,
heart because I
great
end up blubbering like a fool up here. But in terms of the kids that are out here, I think they just deserve it. They're so good and so exceptional. And it's when you bring just a few counties together, we see it all the time here in the fall and October, early in October there at Eastern Regional when you bring the top end together. But I'm telling you have the top end right here in Western New York. It's really impressive. These kids can go anywhere. Take them to the NJSA shows, get them out, get them showing because they're good enough to go anywhere. I promise you. When it comes down to showmanship, the first thing is if I have a pig and I want to win the show that day, what kid do I want on the stick? And that kid immediately needs to go to the top in showmanship for me. Then we worry about other little details like eye contact and all those things. And then who puts all those little extras into it when we have competition this deep? And which way do you go? How do you round them out? It's a matter of getting that hog exhibited the best. Sometimes the kids forget about that a little bit. They want to hit those holes so bad, they make that barrow or gilt take a bad step. It might hurt them just a little bit in terms of that overall showmanship presentation. And then we got to have them looking the part all the time as we get them out there, get them going. If that one maybe ran into another one, pull that brush out, use it. Did it go to the bathroom on you, whatever, try to get them cleaned up, all those sort of things. But it is really close out here. And there's one exhibitor that I'll talk her in a minute would run away with the thing if she just maintained a little bit more eye contact for me. But the one that puts all those puzzle pieces together offers me the most. young lady with the black one in the center of the ring, going to be your champion here in this division. We'll do a little. It is exceptional. It's really, really close. It's really hard for me to use her when she's, needs to pull her brush out on that one's back end. But that's one. In terms of hitting those holes and having the eye contact, I think was just beyond exceptional for me today. The one that if I'm a breeder standing ringside, I absolutely want them driving hogs for me. Young lady here nearest me does just an outstanding job. She's going to be your reserve. If we get you just a little bit better eye contact at times, that one, I'm telling you guys, I don't know that I've seen one presented any better here in quite some time in terms of getting one broke, getting it driven, and they know exactly what each other are doing, the pig and the young lady. We just get her eye contact dialed up. She's top 10 about anywhere she goes in the country for us. Really, really good showman there as well. And then where do you go from there in terms of splitting hairs? Different styles, different kinds. For me, the one thing that's really hard to do is show these little ones. Young lady's done an exceptional job. She's going to be third for us. That one, as she gets out here and gets them going, that one for me, in terms of being able to get out here and find a hole still with one that little, she kind of rivals the other two in terms of just the corners and angles. Getting that one turned a little bit better. Young man's going to follow in 4. He's one for me as we get out here, I guess. Just kind of got lost in the crowd in the beginning. Didn't have that initial hole shot, kind of ran past me, but it continued to work his way up in the drive as it continued to linger on here. Just got out there and simply had a really, really good drive when he got back out here in the group. Young lady rolls here next in 5. When we change you on your turns, you want to turn that barrow too much on a dime for me, especially when you go to your left-hand turn when you're out here. We just need to make that a bigger, wider sweep and loop and turn for us. Do just a great job. For me as well, the young lady came out early on. In that first 5 steps, she was exceptional. I tried to send her to a pen. She missed it. Got her back in there later. In terms of getting one stuck, getting one driven, does just an exceptional job. That's one that Barrow just quit on her the longer this went because she does get so much out of them. She just simply needed a better partner out here today.
Congratulations in our intermediate division. Your champion intermediate showman goes to Ms. Erin Hayes of Holland, New York. Reserve champion Amelia Hinstrube. 3rd, Lily Underberg. 4th, Nathan Blair, 5th, Ella Underberg. And 6th, Kyra Pence. Now in the ring, we'll get started with our senior showman. There will be 2 heats in this division. Coming out of heat 1, we'll look for Chase Gerhart, Nora Hayes, Austin Knoll, Brooke Knoll, Julia Uranick, Bailey Fetplace, and Brianna Warner. Heat 2, senior showman, this is your call to ringside.
So Jessica, as we get set now for the 17 to 21-year-olds,
yes,
we're going to kind of shift gears, go up a little bit in age. We're going to take a short break, another minute, to hear from the people that are bringing this to you live on Ustream and at WBBZ.TV from the Showplex in Hamburg, the Western New York Youth and Ag Bonanza. We'll be right back.
Milk times 3 is good for me. 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 Strong bones, healthy bodies, tastes great.
Milk with chocolate, yogurt, cheese.
Make me healthy, stronger, please.
Milk times 3 is good for me. Milk times 3 is good for me. Milk times 3 is good for me.
Want the best for your pets? Decide on Clyde's. Most people think their best deal is with online retailers, but I'm always getting the best price at Clyde's Feed and Animal Center. Shop ClydesFeed.com for convenient 1 to 3 day shipping to your doorstep. They've got a great selection of food for every pet, from dogs and cats to horses and chickens, wild birds, and everything in between. You'll find more than food. Shop toys, treats, flea and tick treatment, grooming supplies, vitamins, supplements, and more at Clyde's Feed and ClydesFeed.com.
Hey everybody, we are back at the Showplex in Hamburg, New York for the Western New York Youth and Ag Bonanza. And so we're looking now at the individuals, Jessica, in the 17 to 21-year-old senior showman class. And the judge has been looking at them, and now some of the animals are going back into their pens.
Yep.
cages.
Yep,
and
meaning
some
they're
are
going to get
staying.
held out.
Okay.
Again, you'll hear me say it a number of times, and I appreciate the staff so much for putting the show together, especially as we get into this senior division. Some of these kids may be their last time in the ring, and we want to give them the most of it, absolutely. But as we get them out here, there's 3 that sorted out for me really quick out of the gate. Take nothing away from the other 3 that we have out here. I think the young lady here in the vest is really close in terms of making it through for me at times. And maybe, again, like some of those intermediates, got a little bit tighter on our turns. And in terms of moving that one, we just need to see that more fluid as we go around that head turn, especially. The young lady out here to my right has one that's absolutely dead broke. She did such a good job turning out and finding a hole there to come right at me. Then she kind of drove herself right back into traffic. We just need to find those empty holes a little bit better. Young lady with the Yorkshire, maybe not as good a gate entry as some of the others, but again, when you get out here and have some space, certainly can tell she knows her way around the ring as well. We'll jump into our next heat of seniors and get you an overall as well.
Congratulations. In Heat 1 of our senior showmanship division, coming back to compete will be Chase Gerhardt, Austin Knoll, and Brianna Warner. Now in the ring will be your final heat of senior showmen, Josh Carter, Brooke Gerhardt, Corinne Sakalowski, and Jennifer Holscher. After this class, we'll compete for your champion reserve senior showman. Followed by that, we'll look for all of our grand and reserves back to ringside to compete for your overall champion reserve showman.
You know, John, Mr. Aarons mentioned something that this might be some of these kids last year.
I heard him say that, yeah.
Yeah, so much like senior football, you know, other sports, maybe your last year to cheer at the football game or at the basketball game, kids in livestock have that same challenge. And so this year, for those kids especially, you want to make sure you give them that last opportunity to step in the ring. And you can see that each kid, if they only ever show their county fair, they're not in the show ring for that long. So the time is very short, but if you get out and you show many other shows, you get more exposure, you get more used to being in the ring, does some good. But it is important to give those kids in their last year another opportunity.
Well, and you mentioned the time spent showing here in the ring, a lot of time spent prepping.
Yes, they didn't just come this way.
No, this wasn't just like, let's just wake up and go. Really months and months and months to work with that animal, specifically that animal.
Yes.
And make sure that animal understands, like you were saying, that the eye contact even.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is interesting.
I'm going to like to go ahead and keep 2 young ladies driving the White Hogs. For me, the other 2 out here, both of them really good showmen. I guess some things that I would change as you progress, if this isn't the end of the road for you. Young lady in the pink, I want to see you just get a little bit lower, especially when you go across that animal at times. That pig is dead broke again. It's just a style preference for me out here in terms of getting one going and get a little bit more drive and look out of both you and the gilt. And then the young man at times, again, we just need to change whip placement. All too often when you want that one to go, you're down on the belly side of that pig. We want to avoid getting those marked up, especially when we're driving the white ones. We just move that whip forward onto that one's nose and off the white part, get down lower and be able to reach around a little bit further, be able to help utilize that tool a little bit better. But a nice job as we round out our senior division.
So there they go.
Congratulations. In Class 2, coming back to compete will be Corinne Sakalowski and Jennifer Holscher. Now in the ring, we'll be selecting our champion reserve senior showman. Out of Pen 1 is Mr. Chase Gerhardt of East Aurora, New York.
So this is Chase.
Yes.
And is he going to be competing now with some of the others that
Coming out of Pen 2,
yes,
Mr. Austin
we're going to be
Knoll
looking
of
for our
Chaffee,
champion
New York.
senior and reserve champion senior showman.
And this is Austin.
Yeah. Austin and Chase both have done well over the
Coming
years.
out of Pen 3, Miss Brianna Warner of Frewsburg, New York.
Brianna actually competed in our virtual show and did pretty well in that because we couldn't hold our show in May like we normally do.
Corinne Sakalowski of Springville, New York.
You know, for some of these kids that are in the ring right now, John, college is going on, so they can't be home, so another sibling or a parent needs to help out.
Eden, New York.
Or they are
Put your hands
going to
together
school
and
close to
congratulate the
home.
top 5 senior showmen at the Western
I know
New York
Jennifer's
Youth
going
and
on
Bonanza.
to Blackhawk University probably in a couple
This will be
weeks.
the second call to
and she's
ringside
going to
for all
join the
champion
judging
reserve
team.
champion showmen
So
back
she
to
someday
compete
you
for
may
Grand
see her
Reserve
back in
overall
Western New York
showman.
as a judge.
After that selection, we will roll right into our gilt show. We'll be getting started with our AOB purebred gilts.
You know, like we were talking about earlier, John, is that it does take a lot of time, but I can almost bet that pretty much any kid in these barns over the next 3 weekends during the pandemic didn't get to sleep in much.
Yeah.
You know, that even, you know, as my girls, I'd wake them up as I was going out the door and say, you got animals in the barn, let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
You know?
And that discipline is so important. It's something to be admired because there are too many young people who don't have those disciplines, and a little bit of responsibility goes a long way for those life lessons, the bedrock of that. So here we have Austin, Chase, Brianna, Jennifer, and
Corinne.
That's
Corinne.
it. I'm sorry, I missed that. Almost missed that.
You know, John, I heard a judge once say, we're not in the business of raising good pigs, we're in the business of raising good kids, and the pigs are just the tool.
Well, there's a lot of truth to that.
Sure is. Sure is.
We talked about eye contact. The judge mentioned it. Is that eye contact that the animal has with the exhibitor, or is that, talk about that a little bit.
So the exhibitor should always be in eye contact with the judge. And he mentioned in the last class that if they tell you to get a pen and you miss it, you might have missed your place. You might be knocked down because you didn't see him say, get in the pen.
I see. So I'm watching the exhibitors now look at the judge.
Yeah, and they'll
for that very
glance
reason.
back at their animal to make sure it's going. But
Yeah.
the kid has worked with the animal enough. They know right where that animal is without
Yeah.
even looking at him.
It is interesting for those of you that stuck with us through the whole showmanship drive here so far to see the evolution of showmanship as you get through the ages. To me, it's rather obvious many of these seniors have a different style than a lot of those intermediates had, and even our younger ones who now push to make the next ones better and all those things. So, you know, there's a lot of different styles out here as we talk to these kids. You know, one young man out there on the far side is working really hard to try to change and adapt with the times. I appreciate that. That Gilt is one that's wanted to go back to that holding pen and get on the rail a little bit more for him. I know he wants more out of her than what he's getting. And, you know, as we get out here, you kind of got to look at the ones that are just able to cruise and go the whole time. And you know, maybe not everything I've asked for today in terms of switching hands and being low and getting them to go and having all those little extras and differences. But I think the one that maybe has just the best relationship with their hog in terms of one that's absolutely dead broke, to me, pace has been perfect the whole time. Turns are excellent. I'd like to see him a little bit lower for him, but young man driving Belter one's going to be your champion. For me, that one just so calm and cool and collected all the way throughout. And I think that Gilt has a little bit more gas in the tank where some of our others don't. I certainly think he'll be able to rival some of those earlier ones we chose there as well when we go back for your final overall. Second for me is going to be a young lady on the far side driving the blue one. When this one came out, I thought just exceptional in terms of look and balance, in terms of her as a showman. Just when she came out of that gate, she was here for business. Skin and hair is excellent on that one. I try not to harp too hard on the mic. I might have got myself in trouble over Madison County when Rodney and I did that show down there before Christmas last year, but I can be pretty hard on skin and hair at times, and that is one that's exceptional. So when I see good ones, I want to make sure I point out the good in them as well. Those of you guys sitting ringside, if you've had a skin and hair problem this year, I encourage you, go find that young lady, talk to her back of the pens, find out the products that she's using, what works for her and her family in their barn. I'm sure she'd be happy to share with you some of the tips that she's learned over the years. But again, skin and hair is phenomenal on that one, and we need to point out the positives when we see them there as well. And then for me, I'm going to jump back in between the two young ladies. Where do you go for 3 and 4, and how do you sort them? For me, it's not always in terms of that skin and hair that I mentioned. For here, it is maybe a little bit of a sort between there. I think first and second simply came to the top extremely easily for me. And then with both these girls, they kind of want to bottle up together, even as we still get some space out here for them. The one that was more consistent all the way throughout the drive for me, though, still has some gas left in the tank. Young lady in white would be 3. Young lady here nearest me would be 4. Young man, I think you do an exceptional job. You can let that Gilt rest, man. You do a great job with her. For me, though, when the show first started, I thought, boy, here's our easy winner in this senior showmanship drive. And it comes out of the gate. He knew exactly what to do. Showed me all the angles, all those things. The longer it went on, that's the tough challenge as we get so much out of these pigs. Do they have it left to give you? But did an exceptional job. Nothing to be disappointed. Don't hang your head there about being 5 today. Come back and get them next time.
So he really really laid it out there, particularly on the skin and hair. That was an
Yes.
interesting observation, and asking some of the other young people to connect to see what it was all about.
Right. You know, like I said, John, that they're competitors, but they're also friends, and
Yeah.
kids will share that knowledge. And, you know, sometimes if all things are equal, the animal that has the best skin and hair will probably rise to the top quicker because they know that the animal's been brushed and cared for.
Senior Division, your champion senior showman, Mr. Chase Gerhart. Reserve, Brianna Warner. Third, Corinne Sakalowski. Fourth, Jennifer Holscher. And fifth, Austin Knoll.
So Chase Gerhart is the champion in the senior showman
We'll be
category.
looking for our champion reserves back to ringside, and we will be selecting your grand reserve overall showman.
So now
We are looking for your champion reserve Pee Wee showman. Champion and reserve Pee Wee showman, we are looking for you to ringside.
So now we're going to bring out other
This will be the
other
first
champs
call
from the
class
other
one,
categories.
AOB Guild.
Right,
First
so we'll
call,
bring in the
class one,
champions
AOB
from
Guild.
each of the age divisions, and then we're going to do our champion overall and reserve champion overall showman.
Got it. So while they come into the pen here in the Showplex Theater in Hamburg, we are going to take a short break and be back right after this.
Want the best for your pets? Decide on Clyde's. Most people think their best deal is with online retailers, but I'm always getting the best price at Clyde's Feed and Animal Center. Shop ClydesFeed.com for convenient 1 to 3 day shipping to your doorstep. They've got a great selection of food for every pet, from dogs and cats to horses and chickens, wild birds, and everything in between. You'll find more than food. Shop toys, treats, flea and tick treatment, grooming supplies, vitamins, supplements, and more at Clyde's Feed and ClydesFeed.com.
Connect with WBBZ TV, your hometown MeTV station. Channel 67.1 over the air and DirecTV, Channel 5 on cable, Fios, and Dish.
Chill out with some hot classics.
Online at our website, WBBZ.TV, with information about your favorite shows and hometown buzz.
Feeling a little frisky?
Join the conversation at WBBZ TV on Facebook, at WBBZ on Twitter, and check out our YouTube channel with playlists of our hometown programming.
Yes, sir. I'm going to lay around home and just take it easy.
WBBZ on TV and online, your hometown MeTV station. We've got our masks on, and Jessica, there's our camera with Captain Chris. So Jessica's all masked up. I've got my bandana on that Holly gave me because we're being COVID compliant, and we need to be because that's the only reason this show is going on, is that you and your team put this together with all the rules in place.
Right, lots of disinfecting, lots of masks, lots of social distancing, but we're here showing live side.
And doing it live on Ustream and WBBZ.TV and all these other platforms on your Facebook page and everything else so that we can show this across Western New York and across the country.
Right, so you know, we only allowed immediate family, and it's closed to the public.
Yeah.
But this was a great way to be able to let grandma and grandpa and aunts and uncles and the general public just watch.
And you've got a great team. We talked about them earlier. You have Kirby and Becca, and Holly, Paula. A lot of women involved here, Jessica.
There is our team is very heavy female, and not on purpose. It just kind of ended up that way. But
Yeah, that's
and
all
the
good.
ag team especially, it is unusual to have a mostly female agricultural team at a fair.
Well, and the board of directors have obviously worked with you to figure this out as well. And we talked a little bit about the animal buildings. It's not just the Showplex. So if you're watching on Ustream and you're thinking, well, that's a beautiful building. Well, there's maybe almost half dozen of them here.
Yes. Quite a number of barns, all fairly new. The newest one is the Agricultural Discovery Center. It's 60,000 square feet of space dedicated to educate people about agriculture.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go, Champion Drive.
With our grand drive of our showmen here at the Western New York Youth and Ag Bonanza, entering the ring at this time is your champion Pee Wee showman, Miss Julia Britton of Lawton's, New York.
So Julia's out in the pen.
Yep.
Now entering the ring will be your champion junior showman, Miss Ashlyn Hackett of Java Center, New York.
Ashlyn's junior, you
Yes,
said?
champion junior showman, Ashlyn Hackett.
Coming out of your intermediate division, your champion intermediate showman was exhibited by Aaron Hayes of Holland, New York.
And here comes Aaron, intermediate.
And out of your senior division, your champion senior showman went to Mr. Chase Gerhardt of East Aurora, New York.
So here comes Chase.
Yep. So now, John, he'll select his champion out of this, and let's just say it's Chase. Then Brianna can come into the ring and contend for the next spot.
I see.
Almost kind of like a
The
basketball
reserve
bracket.
champion Pee Wee showman,
Oh, we're going to bring the reserves right out, too.
Mr. Cole Schumann of Arcade, New York.
So another Pee Wee's coming out there. Cole Schumann.
Reserve champion junior showman, Miss Quinn Pence of Randolph, New York.
Quinn Pence of Randolph, junior.
Coming out of the intermediate division, your reserve champion intermediate showman was Miss Amelia Hinstrube of Springville, New York.
Amelia from Springville, home of our WBBZ tower.
And out of the senior division, your reserve champion senior showman was Miss Brianna Warner of Frewsburg, New York. Put your hands together for all of the showmen at the West New York Youth and Ag Bonanza.
So, John, this is the top showman of what's here at the Bonanza this weekend.
And here they are with their animals, and the big prize will await, the big recognition.
You can see the determination and the intensity on the kids' faces.
Yep, you definitely can
Some
see that.
maybe a little nervous jitters here and there.
Yeah, and I see that eye contact they're making with the judge.
Yes.
And then they go back to the animal.
Yeah. Such great experience for kids.
Oh, and especially the little ones, because they look up to the big ones and want to be like that someday.
Yeah. It's funny, look at all the paisley pink shirts out there. I wonder if they coordinated.
It is Western Day here. I got my hat.
The Wild West weekend.
This is about as Wild West as I get.
You got your boots on, John.
I do. I'm trying. I'm doing the best I can, Jessica.
Well, next weekend's Hawaiian.
Ah, there you go.
What are you going to wear for that?
Something Hawaiian. Yeah, I may even bring a Don Ho CD. That's before your time.
The last weekend is going to be our Americana theme, so that'll be fun, too.
Okay, a lot of flags.
Yeah. Oh, the staff's getting boogie.
Staff's, the music's great. It keeps us motivated.
That's right.
The Ustream feed here on www.wbbz.tv. Tractor Supply, you know, they're a great company too, right up the street here on Southwestern Boulevard, tractorsupply.com.
I find myself there often.
Yeah, I bet. And they have all kinds of things. In addition to hardware, they've got a lot of farming supplies as well.
A lot of pet stuff too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And then Artmeyer Commodity Supply. Artmeyer donated all the bedding for us.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Artmeyer, God bless them, because there's so much bedding that you've got. You need it.
Yes.
Here comes the judge.
Well, it's no secret around the area that I absolutely love showmanship. Most guys would rather judge the market end. For me, it's always the showmanship, because it's the one that you don't have to have that great one to have. And it really shows how much effort the kid and the family was able to put in throughout the summer. And it's kind of that final showcase of it. And for me growing up, unfortunately, we didn't always have the funds to go find the good one and had to take whatever we bred on the farm in those situations. But to me, it's the one thing, aside from Skillathon, you can always come out here and just excel in, regardless of quality of the pig. Sometimes I know injuries happen, and we had a few of those in those drives where maybe those hogs gave up on those kids. Had some good showmen sent back to the barns, but showmanship is the one that I truly love and am passionate about. As a breeder, I absolutely hate it, because when it's first, you bring those good hogs out and you kind of break them down and they get overrun, and maybe that hog can't win champion tonight. But if you ask these kids, I'd say this one maybe means just as much to them. And if you have one that still stays together, you know it's really good. Makes it all the easier on the judge later tonight as well. But as we get out here, for me, it comes down between a trio of them, our two intermediates and the junior. Take nothing away from the others, but I think those three excel at the top. And even our second intermediate, I wanted to dump them all out here together because I wanted to make her work just as hard as the others, kind of sorter between those others, see if that eye contact got any better as we come out here in our final go. You know, it has, and I'm always one to use a second, and I like a lot of the shows where you kind of had to be the winner to get there, to get to that final go. So it's not, you know, it's all good, it's all fun, and I think it just means so much for these kids to hit the ring again. So that's one of the big things. I wanted to drop them out. And when I talked earlier today, it's about those hole shots when you come right out of the gate, showing me all 3 views. When I get in behind it, letting that hog go, letting it stride, being able to utilize both hands as we get out here. And I think that's probably where I make my final sort between them. There's 2 out here I think just been deadly in terms of eye contact, in terms of getting them driven. Both of them stare a hole through me the whole time they've been out here. I'm going to go ahead and elect to use your intermediate and your juniors. Intermediate will be your champion.
Congratulations to Aaron Hayes. She will be your overall champion showman and reserve champion. And reserve champion will go to Ashlyn Hackett.
So Aaron Hayes,
yes,
is our number 1 champ. I'm gonna. Well, is this Aaron right here?
It is Aaron.
Aaron, I'm gonna come around. We may be able to hear you, maybe not see you.
Once again, congratulations to all of those exhibitors.
Aaron's going down
we will
here.
Look to
Aaron.
get started with our gilt show. We'll be looking for Class 1 AOB gilt.
Aaron, we're on the Ustream. Tell me the name of your animal.
His name is Diggy.
Congratulations on your win.
Thank you so much.
How old are you?
I'm 15.
Where are you from, Aaron?
I'm from Holland, New York, but I show in Cattaraugus County.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
All right, so there's Aaron. We got a chance to meet her, and we saw, of course, all of the great work that she did and all the other young people in the pen for the competition. 15 years old, Jessica. She's got a lot going on. at
She
15.
does.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I said early on, you know, Aaron, it's been fun to watch Aaron hone in on her skills. And Ashlyn, too. You know, at 12 years old, I think Ashlyn's 12, maybe a little younger than that. She's got a lot of time left.
Well, I know. I got to tell you, I got to thank our guys because I kind of pulled a fast one on them. I just we got to find them. It was a little different than the cattle show. We're going to take a break now that we're here at the Showplex. We finished one championship. What's still to come, Jessica?
Oh, now we're getting into our breeding classes.
The breeding classes. You want to stick around. We'll be right back right after this.
Milk and cheese and yogurt make me sing every day, 'cause milk is amazing. Drink milk to grow up with strong bones. 3 times a day, vitamin D and calcium. So drink it with chocolate, put it on your pizza. How about berries? It's always a treat. Milk is amazing.
Show me a fillet, show me a strip, a Russell's cut, a ribeye, or a crab dip. Come dine with me just right. Where would you like to have dinner tonight? Russell's, of course, Russell's, of course. Where would you like to have dinner tonight? Russell's, of course.
Be my guest and let us do the rest.
Welcome back to the Showplex in Hamburg, New York, on the fairgrounds. And Jessica Underberg, CEO of the fair, is with me. Jessica, we're in the middle of the pig show, the hog show. What are we seeing now?
So we just started our registered breeding hogs. So much like dogs, pigs actually have registration papers if they're purebred. And so in the ring now, you see the young man driving a Hampshire gilt. That is a purebred Hampshire. And the young lady is driving a spot gilt. Now, you remember we talked about down-eared hogs and up-eared hogs. Spot's definitely a down-eared hog.
Those of you back in the barn, be ready to get going, and we'll be able to roll through some of these smaller classes here in the early breeding and market side of things. For me, the 2 out here, I just have to use young man's Hampshire in terms of look and build. That one just has to win for me. She offers so much in terms of elevation at the point of shoulder. As we get through the day here, obviously the shavings are extra deep. It's going to be a little bit tougher to evaluate pastern strength and set. I'd maybe like change her a little bit there, but I think she has so many extras, she has to lead us off. Young lady, spot gilt. Another one, we appreciate this one, especially in terms of reach off of that back end. That's one that's extra long bodied, though. Maybe gets on that fringe of too long in terms of making that next generation better. Where do you go with that? There's a lot of pros and cons either way. For me, that one has that added extra length, which we appreciate from a length of hip. although that one, in terms of maturity, gets just a little bit quicker for the young lady there as well. But a nice way to lead us off here in your breeding gilt show.
So that was Colden Hackett and Rachel Harper.
Congratulations in Class 1 AOB Gilts. First place will go to Colden Hackett and second to Rachel Harper. Now in the ring will be Class 2 AOB Gilts, an entry from Kennedy Whitting and Maya Lindsley. Class 1 Duroc Gilts, make your way to ringside. Class 1 Duroc Gilts, please make your way to ringside.
What does AOB mean? AOB gilt?
Any other breed. So we typically, if you don't have enough to make a breed show of its own, you kind of mix some together. So in the ring now, you're looking at a Hampshire appearing animal and a Berkshire animal. And we show AOBs by age, or breeding classes by age.
Okay.
So the judge is looking for the animal that he'd like to take home and breed. So good mother characteristics.
I see.
AOB gilts here. Just have to use one that just simply fleshes and bodies a little bit quicker for me. The young lady's Hampshire is going to lead us off here. One that we do need to stouten and give it a bit more feature, but one, again, in terms of look and design, just excels the other. Young lady's Berkshire, we just need to simply see that one softer made. Good news for her, that one's end destination probably isn't for a while. That's one I definitely change the feed bucket on, get that one on a lower protein, little higher fat diet, change her, get her a little bit better as we continue to move here throughout the fall, but a nice pair here as well.
Congratulations in Class 2. First place will be Kennedy Whitting and second to Maya Lindsley. We'll now select your champion and reserve champion AOB Gilt. We'll be inviting back in Colden Hackett and Rachel Harper from Class 1.
So now I'm sure he won't take much time, John, but he's going to select his champion, any other breed registered gilt. So out of the first two classes.
Make your way to ringside. Durocs Class 1, we need you in the holding pens.
And when you say any other breed, it could be so it's a mix of breeds, or is it a pig that's co-bred with another?
Nope, it's a different breed of each. Each breed is separate. So the pig, like the spot pig, is a pure spot bred.
Got it.
The Hampshire is a pure Hampshire bred, and the Berkshire is pure Berkshire.
Purebred.
It's just there wasn't enough to make a whole Berkshire
As
show.
we talk about your champion AOB breeding gilt, it's rather obvious for me the young man out of our older class has to lead us off here in terms of just that extra look and mass and proportions. That one has to win. And second gets a little bit closer for me. You know, the young lady with the spot and then the Hampshire as well. That spot I mentioned being a little bit quicker in maturity. I'm not just going to single trade her on that. I think she's the second best one. She's your reserve AOB.
Congratulations in our AOB division. Your champion will go to Colden Hackett and reserve to Rachel Harper. A reminder to all exhibitors, we'll look for your champion and reserves back to compete for an overall and reserve overall breeding gilt champion. We'll now look to get started with our Duroc Gilt Show. We'll be looking for Class 1, Brianna Warner, Chloe Landfair, and Hallie Boardman.
So,
Class
So
2
that little
Duroc,
spotted-
Brian
Yes.
Wilcox.
That little guy, he's got something in his mouth. What's he got in his mouth? Stick. Okay, of course.
So Rachel and her sister show at the Chautauqua County Fair, and last year they won Champion Hog with a homebred, I believe. And so that was really fun to watch.
So what's this little pig likes a stick? What's the usual snack for a pig?
Oh, what they really like for treats? Marshmallows.
Really?
Right. Marshmallows. Fluff.
Fluff.
Yes.
Who doesn't like fluff? So,
So, yeah,
marshmallow is the
marshmallows
pig's
and
favorite.
fluff.
I would have thought apples or
No.
carrots or
No.
something.
No, marshmallows.
Oh.
So now we're moving into our Duroc breed, John, and they're a down-eared hog like I was mentioning
Right.
earlier. They're red. They can be any color. You know, some are really, really dark. Some are going to be more copper color. Some are going to be lighter. I know my oldest really likes to show Durocs.
So this is the Duroc
Yes.
breed.
Yes.
Is there more of a certain breed in West New York than another?
Probably you're going to see, and I'm guessing, and really Rodney's the guy to ask, but I'm guessing you're going to see more Yorkshire-based animals, whether they're peers or crossed with something Yorkshire.
Okay. Duroc seems like a rather a different name that I've just never heard of as a breed
really?
of pig. Yeah.
Yeah. They can be tough to train.
Well, again, sometimes they just sort themselves for you, and it's exceptionally easy here in terms of what direction you have to go. A young lady here in the center leads us off. This one is extra stout, extra rugged, and still offers us a ton of shape and crispness to her loin edge. That one is just extra good in a lot of places. Again, another one, if we're getting really tough, I'm just trying to find holes. That's one maybe like to change in terms of pastern strength a little bit, but one that's really good there. And again, just easy place to land. And second for me, I'm going to go ahead and use the other young lady out here to my right. This is another one, follows as closely in type and kind and look as our champion in this heavier class. So for me, this one just runs out of horsepower. When you get right up on top of it, doesn't offer us near the boldness through the center part of its body in comparison with that class winner. Young lady that goes in 3, another one, just simply needs a little bit more time, and this one's just one, again, if we could fix it at that ham loin hook up there. You'll hear me say that a few times, even in our market hog side of things, but that's kind of a pet peeve of mine. That's one we need to blend and make more natural there. Offer that one a little bit more ease and comfort out of its rear third to work up the line any higher.
I will say the Duroc.
Congratulations in Class 1. Duroc Gilt's first place will go to Brianna Warner, second, Chloe Landfair, and third, Hallie Boardman. Now in the ring is Class 2, our final class of Duroc Gilts. We'll look for Ryan Wilcox, Cody Knoll, and Jenna Whitting. This will be the first call of Class 1, Yorkshire Gilts. First call, Class 1, Yorkshire Gilts. Make your way to ringside.
They do look a little more rugged. They kind of remind me of a pit bull and a dog. A little bit more rugged, a little bit more, I don't want to say aggressive, but...
Yeah. No, that's a good analogy, John. They're just a little stockier.
Yeah.
Little shorter necked than some, although this gilt that just came out is a pretty nice fronted Duroc gilt.
You know, if you look at the other pigs, they were, pink and spotted and almost looked more playful. These pigs look like they're all business.
Well, we've had a few in the barns that have been pretty playful. The Durocs, when they're little, there's nothing more cute than that.
Oh, how about that?
Little floppy ears and, but they can be tough to train because their ears come down over their eyes and you got to get their head up so they can see.
Yeah, I see that. They don't seem to be at all, any of these animals, impacted by the other. They just, they all just sort of coexist, like we said.
And as good showmen, you try to drive through and separate yourself from the crowd, but the pigs don't really seem to bother each other.
Yeah.
Not as easy as a class to line up. Surely, there's the top pair of the simply bigger ones, I guess. All these pigs are born within 8 days of each other. Just simply pounds kind of dictate the top 2 for us. And then we'll talk to young ladies here in a minute. But on those top 2, you have the young man out here to my left. It's extra stylish. That one is so good looking on the side and does take a nice long stride. And then you settle in behind it, and it's kind of easy to be sound when you don't have as much mass and power. The young man's that has all of that. For me, though, his does get too short-strided, especially out of that right rear. We need to make her more comfortable there. Young man out to my left here is going to have your class winner. Other young man will be 2. Young lady, I love the design and look of this gilt. She just simply needs more pounds as we progress through here. Good job, man. Missed you there, left you hanging. All right. So as we get out there, that's one. I love the look of that one. If we could just simply take a picture and not know how they are or anything, I call hers really good. Just simply needs to be bigger to compete with these other 2 out here, though. And again, we're going to try. I'll have my gate help maybe remind you as well. But kids back in the barn, we're going to avoid the high fives and all that stuff here throughout the day. Just try to do our part. So
we just.
Congratulations in Class 2 Duroc Gilts. First place will be Ryan Wilcox, second Cody Knoll, and third Jenna Whitting. Now in the ring, we'll invite back first and seconds to compete for champion reserve champion Duroc Gilt. Out of Class 1, first place was exhibited by Brianna Warner. Second place, Chloe Landfair. Class 2, first place, Ryan Wilcox, and second, Cody Knoll. This will be the final call for Yorkshire Gilts Class 1. First call, Yorkshire Gilts Class 2. A reminder to all exhibitors that we are not going to be doing handshake or fist bump in the show ring. Once again, this will be your second call. Yorkshire Gilts, first call, Yorkshire Gilts Class 2.
It's kind of hard to get away from that habit of handshakes or fist bumps. It's like
challenge since March. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like meeting somebody for the first time and not shaking their hand. It's been a different year, hasn't it?
Yeah, and I I don't think we're going to go back to that for a little while.
Yeah, probably
But,
not.
You know, you just got to do what you need to do to be safe. And,
Yeah, and that's okay.
And now these Durocs, these are from the various categories that we just saw, the various ages.
Right.
And we're going to select one.
We're going to select one as your champion.
The champion Duroc.
Yep, and one as a reserve champion.
I see.
So a lot
it's
of
like
times,
first and second place.
right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times, if you listen to comments, he will kind of lead you where he's going to go.
Again, that previous class winner just giving the young man a handful in terms of getting driven. It's hard to get a good look out of her, and the more cantankerous, I guess, she gets, a little bit harder headed there. She does want to stab off that right rear a little bit more. For that, I'm going to go ahead and use the 2 out of our heavier division. They'll be your Grand and Reserve Duroc.
So Brianna Warner is the champion in that class.
In our Duroc division, your champion Duroc gilt exhibited by Brianna Warner and reserved to Chloe Landfair. We will go ahead and get started with your Yorkshire Gilt show. We'll be looking for Class 1 Yorkshire Gilts from Ashlyn Hackett and Rachel Harper. This will be the final call for Class 2 Yorkshire Gilts. Final call, Class 2 Yorkshire Gilts. Make your way to ringside.
So now we're changing up to a different breed.
Different breed,
call,
right.
Crossbred Gilts. First call, Crossbred Gilts. Make your way to ringside.
This is our last division of pure gilts. And after this, we're going to move into crossbred gilts, meaning the animals that will come into the crossbred, we'll talk about a little bit later. But
a mix. But right now it's Yorkshire.
Right.
And there'll be 2 contestants.
Right.
For this, who we've
for this
met before,
age division.
Ashlyn Hackett and Rachel Harper.
Yes.
Yeah.
So these are born in January and December. And then the next class will be all Februaries.
How many piglets are generally born in a litter?
Usually on the average, I believe, of 12 to 14.
12 to 14. Yeah. Wow, that's a significant amount.
That's a lot of little babies.
Yeah. Now, as a person that owns pigs, if one of the animals has piglets, do you keep them all? Give them away?
Well, it depends on what your goal is with them.
This is a breed that we used to run a lot of when we focused on our purebred side of our program, but as the time goes on, it just became so frustrating that those Yorks could really only make Yorks for us. They just didn't have the same stoutness of feature as some of what we needed in the crossbreds at the time, and I think we have 2 out here that resemble that exact thing, and for me, it's just simply the sort on them for me. It's kind of, I don't want to single trade them in terms of sorting them, but we have one that's extra robust, an extra big forearm, and one that's, just doesn't offer us as much. And then you get into rib shape and look and all those things. For me, we have to leave it to the young lady out here on the far side. She'll give me 1. Our other exhibitor here will be 2.
Congratulations. In Class 1 Yorkshire Gilts, first place will go to Ashlyn Hackett and second to Rachel Harper. Now in the ring will be our final class of Yorkshire Gilts. Entries from Jennifer Holscher, Jenna Whitting, Patrick DeJoseph, Amelia Hinch-Strube, and Cody Knoll. This will be the second call for crossbred breeding gilts. Crossbred breeding gilts, Class 1. Make your way to ringside.
So we had Class 1 in Yorkshire. Now we're going to do Class 2 in Yorkshire.
Yes.
Is this a Class 2 meaning a different age group?
It is. These pigs are all born in February. So we have 5 in the ring. We had an add-on to our program. So earlier, the judge was talking about chest capacity and things like that. And what he's talking about in spring of rib, meaning that they have more of a barrel between their front legs and back legs, and less of a table. So if they're more round than flat, looking at them from the side or from the back. If you're looking at them from the back, they arch out or they come straight down. And if you arch out, that gives you more room for more feed, better room for babies, things like that.
And is that something that you can work with the animal to form like that based on their diet, based on exercise?
Not typically.
Or is it just the natural way the animal just forms?
That's just the way they're made.
Yeah.
You can add a little bit of shape, but usually they have to start with a good barrel to start with.
Right. So the diet is really what you can control to make sure they eat the right things so they don't get too fat.
Right. He mentioned earlier that there was an animal that needed less protein, more fat.
I heard him say that, yeah.
So that would be looking like at a bodybuilder and saying you need to eat a little bit of cake.
Yeah. Have another slice of pizza.
Right.
Yeah. And I love the color here with the Yorkshire, the kind of pinkish
white,
pinkish white.
You know, I have to, John, give a shout out to Upstate Farms or Milk for Health. As
Absolutely.
a lot of folks know, I am a dairy farmer's daughter, so I wouldn't be doing justice if I didn't mention that. So we
Well,
appreciate their support as well.
I'm glad you did, because Milk for Health has been the title sponsor and bringing this home to you. And we've been watching all those great commercials and jingles. And again, it's a part of the fair experience. It's a part of Western New York. Dairy farming is such a major industry in Western New York.
Yeah. Milk is number one commodity of agriculture in New York. And then Evans Bank, right here in Hamburg, major partner of the fairgrounds. Sure appreciate their support too. When we announced the Bonanza, John, there were so many people that said, how can we help? And that's been super important.
Well, and every little bit helps, because it takes time, effort, and energy and money to do this. You got to turn the lights on. We got to figure out the use stream. We've got to bring people in to pull it all together. And it's not like the fair is making some major profit. We're covering costs. We're doing what we need to do to get it done.
Yes.
And we're doing it because we enjoy the experience. And it's been very heartwarming to be on the fairgrounds. I feel very lucky there are so many people that can't be this season.
Right. Oh, here we go.
All right.
It's no accident to me that sometimes those exceptionally good showmen always have the better pigs too. You know, I'd mentioned in showmanship it doesn't matter, but a lot of times they go hand in hand, because those breeders, they grab them up quick. And I'll tell you, whoever's got this young lady showing for them, you're a lucky son of a gun, because this one does an exceptional job. She makes every pig she drives look all the better. That one's a pretty good gilt, though, that lead us off. That one is extra stout and extra rugged and extra good looking. I'd like to maybe see it just grab and go a little bit better out of that rear two, but one that just simply has to win the class on power and so much mass and big pin set. Maybe pushes the limits a little bit going away. That is where she excels. The gilt that lands in two, though, the other young lady there in the teal. That one, for me, I guess going away, does get a little bit more outside itself. Again, has a lot of that same look and added dimension as our class winner. One that just, for me, just too wide in terms of that pin set. Gets outside itself, wants to push and flex on those hocks a little bit. You know, I'm not always one in terms of the show day supplements that come in a syringe, because a lot of times you can get a little bubble there and it draws the judge's attention in terms of what's wrong with that one, why did it need that little bit extra today? And you know, as we start to look at them, and even with the extra juices flowing, a young man who goes there in three, that one for me, that's one that I guess has so much look, and we can just take a picture of it, we call really good. But we need to see that one simply bigger in kind, lengthen it in terms of its cannon bone, has so much mass that it almost becomes a negative as it becomes a little bit shorter strided for me. I love the front third of that one. We just have to fix that one's rear two going away there. But really, really good looking one, just take a picture of. Our young lady here goes in four. One we certainly appreciate the mass that one has. We need to offer that one just a little bit more crispness, a little bit more, I guess, too much feed bucket there for that one in terms of grow. We appreciate that, but at the same time, that one comes at us with just too much cover here today for the size that it's at. And then our other young man that rounds us out in five that went out there, it just simply gave up the raw horsepower and compared with some of the others that were out here in the drive.
Congratulations. In Class 2 Yorkshire Gilts, first place will go to Amelia Hinch-Strube. Second, Jennifer Holscher. Third, Austin Knoll. Fourth, Jenna Whitting. And fifth, Patrick DeJoseph. Now in the ring, we'll select your champion reserve Yorkshire Gilt. We will not be selecting a champion purebred breeding gilt. We will go right into your crossbred breeding gilts. And after that division, we will select an overall champion reserve breeding gilt.
So the last class, he said there was one that had a little too much cover.
Yeah.
It's probably, if I were in a show ring, they'd say I have a little too much cover. Little too much fat.
Oh my, yes,
and that's what he was talking
way of
about.
saying it. He doesn't want to insult the pig.
That's right.
That's Danny.
A little too much cover.
We're gonna
He's talking a lot about structure and being able to move freely and not, you know, when you look at a pig, the back foot should step in the same hole that the front foot left. If they're what we call easy striding. So here we go.
Three there. For me, I think we have to roll with our two out of that younger class there. Young lady, first and second. They'll be your Grand and Reserve Yorkshire here. Our other one, if we're doing a third overall there, that one for me just doesn't have the same look up front as the others there in comparison with those two younger ones there. But a really good group of Yorkshires there to lead us off.
Congratulations. In your Yorkshire division, your champion Yorkshire Guild is exhibited by Amelia Hinch-Strube and reserve champion to Jennifer Holscher.
Whoops.
There they go. No buttons. And
They're in a hurry to get back to the barn, John.
Yeah,
We'll get started with our crossbred breeding guild show. A reminder to those champion reserves out of our AOB, Duroc, and
we would have talked with
Yorkshire
Amelia,
divisions will need
but
you
the pig
back
had another
after
idea.
the
It's feeding time.
Crossbred breeding guild
They
classes
wanted
select
nothing to do with it.
champion and reserve champion crossbred breeding guilds.
All right, so we'll take a quick
First
break,
class in the
and
ring
then we'll
will
come
be
back
looking
with
for
our
Dylan
next
Knoll,
crossbred.
Kennedy Whitting,
Right after
Cole
breeding
Schumann,
gilts.
and Mandy
Right after
Hurlbert.
this. I'm learning
Class
so
2
much, the
crossbred
Ag
gilts.
Bonanza.
This is
We'll
your
be
call
right
to
back.
ringside.
Imagine a world without milk. It would be a tragic, tasteless existence. After all, with no cheese, how would anyone know when to smile? With no milk, why would anyone want to? But there is hope. Your Western New York dairy farmers are committed to providing the most wholesome, delicious milk products possible, returning smiles to tables and order in the universe.
So, everyone's okay with a cow in the house?
Milk for Health. The guys with the cows.
Saturday night is movie night on WBBZ TV. The fun starts at 6 p.m. with The Three Stooges. Then at 8, Svengoolie screens the classics.
Kerwin.
And later at midnight, Buffalo Beatniks, Zelda, Bird, and Theo serve up hot coffee and cool movies on Offbeat Cinema.
Keep watching the skies. Keep watching.
And keep watching WBBZ TV, your hometown MeTV station. Channel 67.1 on air and DirecTV, Channel 5 on cable, Fios, and Dish. The Youth in Ag Bonanza, that's where we're at the Showplex in Hamburg, New York. And Jessica Underberg will be back in just a little bit, the CEO of the Erie County Fair and the coordinator of this event for several weekends. This is the first day.
Well, we knew at a show like this, as we open up to all the weights, every pig has a different end destination. As we're thinking about them as crossbred breeding gilts, I think too often kids maybe settle in and say, oh boy, here's my pig, and this is the one I got to work with. And it's nice at these younger weights you can get them out, get an opinion on them anyway. Some of these, I always joke around that the crossbred market hog shows or market gilt shows are kind of a joke. Those are the ones we send to the sale barn. The breeding gilts are the good ones that you want to keep and breed. And as we get them out here, it's tough to line up because there's some differences. There's one that just takes such a good picture, wants to get a bit outside herself already at this small size. I think compared to what else is out here, she still has to lead us off. Young man out here in the pink's going to win this particular class. I caution you with her, young man, as you proceed forward in her show career. That's one we got to back down on a little bit. She's wanting to get a little too wax on, wax off on those back legs for me. That's one we just kind of ease her in and let her mature whenever she will and find a show that'll fit, because that's one we don't want to push on too hard as we get out here. And type and kind and what do you follow with after that? It's not necessarily the direction I'm going to go all day. They do have to have some balance and build. If I could clean this one up in its throat latch, I'd really like it. Young lady out there on the far side, a solid black one, she's going to be second for me. We'll do a little air high five here or something. All right. So as we get those, that's one. We just need to make that one more attractive in terms of look and front end. In terms of the rest, that one offers us enough reach, and compared with the other two out here, the young lady's belted one on the far side. We just simply need to see more groceries in, and the young man, his has all that, has the extras. That one just wants to get, for me, close up underneath as it goes away. We need to pull that one apart at the ground to work up any higher as well.
That's Judge Danny Aarons, and boy, he is so thorough in his review.
Well, congratulations. In Class 1 of our Crossbred Breeding Guild show, first place will go to Dylan Knoll of Hamburg, New York. Second will go to Mandy Hurlbert. Third, Kennedy Whitting. And fourth, Cole Schumann. Now in the ring is Class 2 Crossbred Breeding Guilds. Looking for entries from Colton Hackett, Mandy Hurlbert, Kennedy Whitting, Dylan Knoll, Lexi Place, Bailey Fett Place, Hallie Boardman, Lily Underberg, and Savannah Spindler. Class 3 Crossbred Breeding Guilds, make your way to ringside.
Oh, they're getting noisy now, Jessica.
They are. So I've never heard a statement like wax on, wax off. That just means their legs kind of get swinging when they get walking in the back.
Ah, okay. I kind of was, I didn't want to go there. I didn't know exactly where that was going. And far be it for me to miss a line. You know, the animals have been pretty quiet. That's the first time they've been.
Yeah, kind of rowdy.
Yeah.
So John, one thing that's interesting is if you look at the pig's ears, they all have different notches, we call them. They're
yes.
not born that way.
Yeah, they're like little,
Little
slits. Yeah. So they're not born that way.
No. So if you look at a pig from head on, the left ear, let me think about this. The right ear is the litter of the year on that farm. So each little slit has a number correlated to it. And you slit them and add those numbers up.
So on the ear,
yeah.
So it doesn't hurt the animal, there's a number put on like from whatever the year the litter is.
Right.
2012, 2011.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it might, well, not like 2012, 2011, but like litter 1 of the year or litter 20 of the year.
Okay.
And then the other ear is the pig within the litter. So it's almost like last name, first name.
So from litter 1 of a certain pig,
right.
And it was born as the third piglet.
Of the litter.
Okay,
right.
All right.
So we get that question
Why is
a lot.
that important to know
Well,
the
it's a
generation?
universal identification system. And pigs now, all these pigs have to have ear tags, but ear tags really are kind of a pain in the neck with pigs because they rub on the gates and they rip them out.
Sure.
Or if there's more than one pig in a pen, they chew on it.
Of course.
So it gets to be kind of a tough battle sometimes.
Yeah.
But to have health papers, I know you guys were talking earlier at the dairy show that every one of these animals had to have a vet visited at home.
We mentioned the
Yeah.
thoroughness. I had no idea that
Yeah.
you'd have to get a medical check for an animal.
Yes, and then so they're visited at home by a vet and given a piece of paper that says they're free of communicable diseases at that point. And then when they get off the trailer here, they're also vet checked.
Yeah.
Again, just to keep animal safety and animal health.
Right.
You know, you would never want to bring a disease into a show and spread it. You know, it'd be kind of like dealing with the coronavirus among people.
You know, that if it was the first thought that came to mind, but, you know, that was certainly one of the theories pitched way back when. And the technology and the advancements of this country with animals, not only with the technology, but the medical treatment and the way we treat animals.
Right.
You know, you would never have a show that would do something to be disrespectful to an animal, even during the fair.
Right. That's especially important to the Agricultural Society.
Yep.
It's something we would not tolerate.
So that's very important.
In
so
some of these bigger
here they go.
classes, I was told we have placings for 5 deep. I have 4 pulled off. Young lady that would be 5. We're going to gate the rest here. A young lady that would be 5 is the Hampshire appearing one on the far end. We'll talk our top 4 here in just a minute. For me, though, with hers, you know, just simply lacks the sheer power to get up with some of these others that we have penned off. And for the others, just little things we need to change structurally. Some of these want to pull their feet way too far underneath of them. We need to change that about them, make them hit the ground square and truer. The young lady's white one is a close one for me. That one has a beautiful silhouette. We just simply need to see more groceries in that one to get it up the line any higher here today, though.
So this is class 2 of the crossbred gilt.
Yep.
Most amount of contestants.
Congratulations to Bailey. Fifth place, she'll be 5th in this class. We are going to rework the top 4 in this class. We'll be looking for Dylan Knoll, Lexi Fifth place, Lily Underberg, and Savannah Spindler.
These animals were all born, John, in January and February of this year. So Dylan Knoll coming out with his calico gilt again. This is Dylan's last year to show, so he also has some animals in the 4-H online market sales. So good family there that has been around the Erie County Fair for a lot of years.
When you say last year to show, because he's going to move on to college?
Yes, he'll be too old.
Yeah, okay.
And then
so there's an age limit.
Yep. And then Lily just came out with her gilt named Dirty Deeds.
I saw the names are listed here. Some of the interesting names are like Goosebumps and Dirty Dog.
Dirty Dog is the sire. So interesting. Savannah, the little girl with the tan vest, and Lily with the red paisley shirt. Those animals are sired out of the same animal, Dirty Dog.
I see.
They have the same fathers.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh, he's a dirty dog. That's a dirty dog.
While Mr. Ahrens is selecting selecting his top 4 in this class, we'd like to take a moment to highlight our video short contest winners. So this year at the Bonanza, we not only added in all of these youth shows for the kids, but we tried to provide the kids with different contests that they could participate in. The video short contest asks kids why youth in agriculture in New York is important. These videos were judged and then voted on our Facebook page, and your first place video short went to Ella Underberg with 191 points.
Ella.
Your second place went to Morgan Harrington with 139 points. Third place went to Lily Underberg with 134 points. We'd also like to commend Maverick Craig, McCoy Craig, Jessica Engel, and Savannah Spindler for submitting videos into the contest. Savannah, Lily, Ella are all here with us this weekend, so give them an extra round of applause. And we have banners and awards for Lily, Ella, and Savannah if you want to come up to the announcer booth when you're done showing.
Well, it's great that they had videos that you submitted, and earlier you mentioned a virtual pig show. So was that somebody that had a camera and they were participating with others on video?
Sure. So what we did, John, is because we couldn't host the show here on the fairgrounds in May that we normally host, we had the kids send us videos, and then from there, that was a bracket-style competition, and the judge sat in a room with a screen with 4 videos playing at a time and moved 2 on until he got to his champion.
Wow.
So it was a really great thing, and Brianna Warner that you saw in showmanship, she was your reserve senior showman. She won actually 2 of the top 5 places.
So that video, again, just trying to be different, and you were, and then the videos that we just heard about that Kirby mentioned submitted to Facebook, were they funny videos, like sometimes we see a TikTok video of a dance, or were they just straight ahead videos?
They were straight ahead. They had to have their animal in the video with them, but the kids spoke about why agriculture should be important to New York State.
Very
And
good.
so, you know, looking at Savannah Spindler, she's 6 years old. She sat in front of the microphone, and that's a lot for a 6-year-old to be able to speak about her animal and why she thinks it's important. So
Good for her. Good
super
for her.
proud of all of those kids. In fact, we talked about kids with all abilities. Maverick Craig spoke about how he has ADHD and how animals have helped him. And so, you know, again, we go back to every ability is able to compete and have fun and show livestock.
Good for those young people.
It's a great experience.
Yeah, and you know, and you see what came to my first thought was that it was a funny video or some goofy thing, because that's what's so prevalent out
Certainly,
there.
the surface makes it a bit more challenging in this class, and not everybody can see the same things that I'm fortunate enough to be able to see when I'm right here on top of them out here in the ring in terms of foot and toe quality and all those things. You know, I never want to beat up on them too bad when they're extra unique and some of those things, and I know this wasn't everybody's preferred target date. And, you know, they're not all going to be 12 o'clock today. But when it comes down, I took a ton of time in this class. I feel like it was one of those moments in the show where we kind of just got to stop and make sure we get it right, because of the ones that we've seen today, I think we probably have 3 of our top 10 all together in this one class, just the way they landed in terms of where do you go. And honestly, the longer I study them and the more I work them, the one that honestly wasn't on my radar at first, maybe didn't get that same first impression, doesn't offer us all the mass and all the extras, but the one that's so much in terms of busted open coming at you and offers us so much more look and just elevation at the point of his shoulder, still stays really attractive in terms of pattern, and the longer the drive goes, offers me more reach, and compared with the others out here, young lady's belted one's going to lead us off. Got to follow with the young man in 2 here. This is one I appreciate so much look about it. I just simply need to see this one bigger and kind in terms of where this one can get to. This is one maybe won't hit that peak maturity till, you know, 9-10 months old. Maybe see that one again in Perry, Georgia on down the line. That's one that there's a lot of neat pieces there. I just simply need to see her bigger in comparison and taller at that point of the shoulder, get her up off the ground a little bit compared to that class winner for me. But that one is so big pinned. That one is extra wide there in terms of hip. It has so much boldness. For me, she had to go second. I'd like to stouten her up. That's where I beat up on her. To me, her front cannon and her foot and toe size just doesn't match everything that she has going on up high. It just doesn't balance as well as that one that leads us off. third and fourth, I think if we could have saw these gilts a month ago, or maybe just at their peak, these ones would probably be 1 and 2 in the class. These ones, as a breeding program moving forward, they have that extra stoutness and extra ruggedness we're looking for. For me, they're that kind. We're talking just a little bit past 12 o'clock here today. Young lady that goes in 3 here, or the older girl here, this is one for me. We're doing a little air high five there. So that one for me, it's just starting to want to push on that left rear hock a little bit. If we can clean that up about her, clean her up in her throat, that's one we can talk about winning the class and maybe more today. The young lady that goes out there in 4, again, another one. That's a really stout, rugged one. Just it doesn't offer us the same squareness and sharpness here today, but one that's extra stout and extra power. Really appreciate that about her.
Congratulations. In Class 2, first place will be Bailey Fetplace. Second place, Dylan Knoll. Third, Lily Underberg. Fourth, Savannah Spindler. First went to Lexi Fetplace, I'm sorry about that, and fifth was Bailey Fetplace. Now in the ring will be Class 3. Crossbred gilts will look for Ashlyn Hackett, Kelsey Knoll, Austin Knoll, and Riley Palmer. After this class, we'll look for all first and seconds back to compete for your champion and reserve champion crossbred gilt. After that drive, we'll look for our grand reserves out of all of our gilt classes to come back and compete for your champion and reserve champion overall breeding gilt.
So now we're looking at Class 3 in the crossbred gilt.
Right.
And again, is this an up in age?
Yes, these
for
are
the
all
animal and the contestant, or
just the animal.
Okay.
All focus from here on out is on the animal.
Okay.
And so these are all January born.
January.
Yes.
Of this year.
Yes. And there's a couple out of the same dad again. It's Goosebumps is the dad.
Goosebumps.
Yep.
I love these names.
Yep. And another dirty dog.
Of course. I'm noticing now what you mentioned about the ears, because I had never known that.
Yep.
You know, now, so that's just a little slit that's made on the animal when they're born.
Yes, about a couple days after.
Yeah, so just a little notch.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a universal identification system, so any farm across the country uses that same system.
So are all animals registered with the Department of Agriculture, or
no,
the state, or the county?
No, not necessarily.
It would be a massive undertaking, I would think.
I imagine, and I don't work for the USDA, but I imagine the tracking and moving of animals and health of animals is a huge undertaking.
Yeah.
You know, and you have things that threaten our agricultural system, things like African swine fever.
Yeah.
Probably as contagious as the COVID-19,
With
but
animals.
for pigs.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And the
Okay.
interesting thing about pigs is a lot of things pigs have that people can get and back and forth. So, like, for instance, if your child is raising pigs and they have strep throat, they should stay out of the barn until they're feeling better.
Yeah.
Because the pig could get sick. You know, and,
So there's a contagion that can
yeah,
get
and we've heard about
it.
H1N1 and
Yeah.
swine fever and stuff like, or swine flu and things
We're
like
so
that.
in tune now with
Yeah.
that. We're
But-
so focused.
Yeah, and when you think about it, John, there's so many commonalities. And you think about, we can use pig valves and hearts and, you know, different things like that kind of makes sense.
So these young people are here competing, and we're here at the Showplex in Hamburg, New York, on the Erie County Fairgrounds. You're watching us on Ustream or WBBZ.TV or another platform that is online, and you're commenting. We'd love to make your comments known. The videos are going to stay up online, so if you missed it for whatever reason, you can tell a family member, or these families can go back and scratch through it and watch on video. I'm always amazed at the technology.
Yeah, let us know where you're watching from.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear from you.
A reminder to all spectators, we do ask that you wear masks at all times while watching the show and on grounds.
All right, so Kirby's going to announce after the judge selects who we're going to have in Class
ringside
3.
or watching on TV, the one I kind of ignored the whole time is the one I knew was going to be the easy winner. I came back to it here at the end just to get a fresh look at it before going to the mic. In my mind, young lady's belted one here coming at me absolutely has to lead this class off. This is one that offers us so many extras, so many positives in terms of look and design, and actually uses its hind leg in comparison with some of the others. Certainly giving the young lady fits and wanting to run to rail 4. We just need to back off that one a little bit, kind of let her chill, do what she wants, get her ready here for the next round. But that's an easy place to lead off in terms of look, design, build, all those things that we need there. I'm going to go ahead and jump to the far side. Young lady will be second out there, really heavy structured one. That one is extra rugged. Again, similar to the young man that fell second and the young lady that was third in that previous class. Ones we just simply need to make a little bit taller, pointing the shoulder, a little bit bigger in kind. That one is so big backed. And again, one that just pushes the limits for me a little bit going away. Square that one up, make it more secure in terms of that rear leg. Could certainly talk about that one being your class winner as well. The young man's blue one on the far side is going to go 3. That one for me is one just wants to drag that right rear around. Again, whether it's injury, whether it's just the way she's made, that's one for me. We changed that about her. She could win the class for me. She just needs to use that hock better for me as she gets out there and goes. The young lady goes 4. Again, another one that has a nice build to it. One that is just so much frailer in comparison to its counterparts out here. That's where that one gets beat. I love the look and build. Matches our class winner the most, but that one is on the fragile side of things for me in terms of bone and foot. That one needs to just simply be stouter to work up here any higher.
Congratulations in our final class of crossbred breeding gilts. First place went to Riley Palmer of Randolph, New York. Second to Kelsey Knoll. Third, Austin Knoll. And fourth, Ashlyn Hackett. Now in the ring, we will be looking for our first and seconds back to compete for champion and reserve champion crossbred gilt. Out of class 1. Out of class 1, first place was exhibited by Dylan Knoll of Hamburg, New York.
So Dylan's out there with his.
Second place out of class 1, exhibited by Mandy Hurlbert of Great Valley, New York.
Mandy Hurlbert.
Class 2 first place was exhibited by Bailey Fetplace of Arcade, New York.
Who's Bailey?
Second place in that class exhibited by Dylan
Lexi.
Knoll of Hamburg, New York. And out of class 3, first place exhibited by Riley Palmer of Randolph, New York, and second to Kelsey Knoll of Castile, New York. Put your hands together for our crossbred breeding gilt exhibitors. After this selection, we'll look for your champion and reserve AOB, Yorkshire, and Duroc gilts back to ringside to compete for Grand Reserve overall breeding gilts.
So we're going to get the grand champion and the crossbred gilt from these 6 contestants.
Yes.
Got
and
it.
then we're going to bring back, we're going to keep those 2, and we're going to bring back all the champion other females to pick our overall breeding gilt champion.
So we're going to find the crossbred right now first, and then the overall champion after that.
Yes.
So we have Dylan, Mandy, Bailey, Riley, Kelsey.
Yep.
And they're out there right now.
Yep.
Judge keeping eye contact. Oh. One of the animals
tired.
A little tired. He was right for that green. We were just saying.
We have the first and seconds out here. I kind of knew in my mind after that last heavy class, we only needed to see the first place ones in this particular drive. For me, it comes down between the middle and the heavyweight. I talked that lightweight in class. That one for me got a little bit too wax on, wax off. If we could just take pictures of them, that one to me is exceptional. I just need to change her in those rear 2, and I think by Perry, that one can be deadly if those guys get her dialed in and make her more comfortable on those back 2. That's a really good young kind of show gilt for him there. I definitely would not quit on that one for me out here today. She just pushes the limits too much. It comes down between the middle and the heavy, and the one that's just simply so much harder to make offers us all the extra feature. Young ladies, heavyweight will be champion, middleweight will be reserved.
It's Riley Palmer.
So Riley Palmer is the champion in this particular category.
Yep, and Lexi Pettiplace is reserved.
And Lexi.
Congratulations in our crossbred gilt show. Your champion crossbred gilt exhibited by Riley Palmer of Randolph, New York, and reserve champion will go to Lexi Fettiplace of Arcade, New York. We'll now look to invite back our champion and reserve champion purebred gilts to compete for Grand Reserve overall breeding gilts.
So we're going to bring them all back.
Right.
And what we're coming up next is the grand champion of everything we've just seen since the start of the show here.
grand champion breeding gilt.
Breeding gilt.
Whether they're crossbred or purebreds, everybody in together. Let's find out who's the best breeding female here.
Got it. Well, we're going to come back to that from the Showplex in Hamburg, from the West New York Youth and Ag Bonanza right after this.
Want the best for your pets? Decide on Clyde's. Most people think their best deal is with online retailers, but I'm always getting the best price at Clyde's Feed and Animal Center. Shop clydesfeed.com for convenient 1 to 3 day shipping to your doorstep. They've got a great selection of food for every pet, from dogs and cats to horses and chickens, wild birds, and everything in between. You'll find more than food. Shop toys, treats, flea and tick treatment, grooming supplies, vitamins, supplements, and more at Clyde's Feed and clydesfeed.com.
Hello, I'm Ross Salvatore, wishing all the youth competing in the Ag Bonanza good luck. I'm sorry I can't be with you in Hamburg. Remember, hard work and good showmanship pays off. I hope to see you and your families soon at Russell's Steaks, Chops, and more.
Beautiful Friday night, Jessica Underberg, here at the Showplex. The sun is setting out in Hamburg, and animals are here. Well, we see somebody.
Yes.
He photobombed us.
He did. But
who is that?
He's one that I do want to have come talk.
Well,
so
here,
let me introduce
turn
Rodney
around.
Spindler.
Is this Rodney?
Yes.
Is this the Rodney I've heard all about? Well, Jessica,
guess.
Jessica did a great job, Rodney. You know, as CEO of the fair, you don't get any bigger than the boss. You know what I mean?
I've known her for a long time. She's always been big and important.
Yeah. So, Rodney, tell us a little bit about you as we get going now with the best in class here.
Owner-operator of Spindler Show Pigs. My wife, Alyssa. My 3 kids, Savannah, Sayer, and Cheyenne. Been doing this thing for, I don't know, I'm old, so a long time. Grew up just like these kids did, showing this stuff. Kind of fell in love with it, turned it into a business. Figured out a way to make a living doing it. Pretty lucky to have that opportunity. It's been an awesome ride to see things in Western New York grow the last 20-plus years from where we started to where we are. So it's kind of cool. Just done a great job with this place. Give these kids a great opportunity. It's a pretty neat deal.
It's a pretty neat deal. And so give me the name of your business again, Rodney?
Spindler Show Pigs.
Spindler Show Pigs. So that means that you raise show pigs and sell them? Or
Yep. So
pigs?
we got 100 sows that we breed farrow. Get those pigs to 8 to 10 weeks old, and then we sell them online to all parts of the country. So from springtime, we'll sell most of those. It'll be New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, some other Midwest states. This time of the year, actually, in a couple weeks, we'll start selling pigs again. The majority of those will go to Oklahoma, Mississippi, Florida, Georgia, most kind of southwest, southeast states for their show season, which is January, February, March time.
So would those show pigs be used for show and then eventually sold to auction, or just for show? And
well, no. So most of the gilts will end up being shown for breeding gilts, and will end up back in somebody's herd if they're good enough. The majority of the barrows end up on someone's dinner plate. It's kind of the kids will show those, get to their end point. So like what a lot of these ones are sized at here today, and then they turn those into market hogs, and someone ends up having a pork chop dinner.
Sure. Interesting. We talked a little bit about that early, Rodney. You know, people
Champion
are
Yorkshire Gilt was exhibited
very,
by Miss Amelia.
You get attached to the animal. You know, you're with the animal, you're showing it, and then eventually you have to sell it. And you know that it's sort of the natural evolution, but it's the way it goes.
It is. It's a great lesson to teach kids, and not everything's going to last forever. And they'll learn a lot about every individual animal that they'll apply to the next one. And it's a cool thing. We work with a lot of kids and that have gotten extremely close, and it's really neat to see that bond, because when I was a kid, I had that same bond. But Mom and Dad also taught us that there was always an end point and there's always a means for everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great lesson for those kids to learn that you need to pick up, you move on, and you go to the next adventure.
Right.
And so it's a pretty neat program. The pig show thing in this country in the last 20 years has exploded nationwide. The number of kids that are showing livestock and pigs in this country is mind-numbing. It's one of the greatest youth organizations you'll ever get involved in.
Some of the girls and I had talked a little bit about if we say this, should we say this, when do we say this, but on behalf of the ag team here at the Erie County Fairgrounds, the whole staff here at the Erie County Fairgrounds, when we had to cancel the 100 and whatever we decided it was going to be this year Erie County Fair.
A lot.
It was emotional, it was hard, but it was obviously what had to happen here. And we can't thank our CEO, our friend Jessica Underberg, for standing up and doing what's best for youth in agriculture here in New York. So if you see Jessica, give her a round of applause, give her a fist bump, give her a high five, because this was her idea, and we stand behind her, and we're proud to be on her team.
It's terrific that Kirby mentioned that from Jessica, because she really has done a great job, as has the entire team. So we're here, Rodney, and we're looking at all of these various animals now. Are you familiar with where we're at now in the competition?
This is the champion breeding gilt drive. Yeah. So we have the purebred gilts showing with the one crossbred gilt. So there's a Yorkshire gilt, a Hampshire gilt, a Duroc gilt, and then a crossbred gilt. So we've actually, in all the years I've done this, we actually started with Durocs when I was a little kid. It was the first color that we ever showed. We've always had just a few Hampshires along the way. Yorkshires was kind of our thing about 10 years ago. And now the majority of our entire sow herd is crossbreds. It's just kind of what the popular thing is, and it's the best of all the worlds in a crossbred hog.
Got it. And
well, again, if I could just echo the sentiments we just heard, just incredible for the team to be able to pull this together. And I'm sure Jessica would tell you, too, it takes a village, and it's a heck of a good village here. I know I've been hard on some of the neighboring fairs in years past, and, when they need improvement, I try to let them know, and when they're doing things right, I certainly want to ring that bell as well. And, guys, when I was here back, I think it was 2012, we had a pretty fortunate NJSA Eastern Regional, our first trip out here, first year you had that deal here. We were lucky enough to pull a few banners out in the crossbred and the Yorkshire side, and I always kind of dreamed of having a chance to step into the ring. I don't care if it's for the county fair or one of the NJSA deals. This is such a beautiful place, and to me, this is the standard, not just in the structure, but in the team of individuals you have here in Hamburg and pulling these shows together. It's just fantastic. The whole crew, the hospitality is amazing. Again, let's give all of them a hand, including Jessica, for putting this together.
Have you met this judge before, Rodney?
In terms of the hogs, when we get them out here,
wait.
that Duroc cruised through that division without any trouble, just had to win, and we didn't really fault that one too hard. When it gets back out here, that's one that wants to pound and take a little bit shorter step, and one that's just so creature looking, though. That one offers us so much, and certainly rose at the top of that Duroc division. When you see it out here again, it certainly still wows you, maybe not in the same way as we get out here against some other really good ones. Young Ladies Yorkshire, another one that kind of smoked through its class, and one we'd like to see a little bit bigger in terms of kind and length in that cannon bone, and one we just need to make more secure in terms of that left rear as it tracks away. Again, one pushes the limits there for us a little bit. Young Ladies Crossbred, that's one that's been extra hard to drive. When we did get a good look out of that one, there's so much to offer there in terms of look and design. The Young Man's Hampshire out of our AOB class, that one was extra stout and kind of handled that class rather easily for his. Doesn't offer us the same mass and power, obviously, as some of the others out here. Maybe need to clean her up in terms of that right rear hock. Want to see just a little bit of inflammation there. But the one, as you talk about your champion breeding gilts at the end of the day, to me, it's always got to be the most valuable one. Which one can move the next generation further ahead, still get it done in the ring today? Young Ladies Crossbred, be your champion.
Congratulations, Ms. Riley Palmer, with her champion breeding gilt here at the West New York Youth and Ag Bonanza. Your reserve champion crossbred gilt was driven by Lexi Fediplace of Arcade, New York.
So Riley's the winner in this category.
Yep, that's actually one of our gilts that we raised and sold.
So have you met the judge before?
I've known Danny for a long time.
Really knows his stuff.
Yeah. I mean, he lives about 3.5 hours from here in Northeast Ohio. Him and his dad run Aaron's Club Pigs. He's an enthusiastic, energetic guy that eats, breathes, and sleeps his stuff. He's extremely passionate. Danny will get mad if I don't say this. I mean, he loves the showmanship part of this. He loves working with the kids. Like he just said, he's maybe a little hard, but he's great and loves it.
It was going to be between the crossbred and the Yorkshire and the Duroc, and not taking nothing away from young man's Hamp. She just didn't have all those same extras. And then I really thought it settled down in that last pairing between the Yorkshire and the crossbred. And honestly, Yorkshire is a little more disappointing on this second round when it comes back out, wanting to get tighter going. But that one has all those extras, so it was weighing on my mind. What do you do with it? At the end of the day, I know as I travel and see pigs that we've sold, it becomes so frustrating when you see those ones that can't go. It's got to come down to structure and soundness. They got to have it all day long. Young ladies reserve cross better be your reserve overall.
Congratulations to Lexi Fetterplace with her reserve champion breeding gilt at the West New York Youth and Ag Bonanza. Once again, congratulations to all of our breeding gilt exhibitors. We will go ahead and get started here in just a moment with our purebred barrow show. We'll show purebred barrows followed by market hogs, and then we'll select you as champion and reserve champion overall market hog.
So once
we'll be looking for Class 1 purebred barrows, an entry from Dylan Knoll and Kennedy Whitting.
So once we get going here, we'll kind of go back now to the beginning of what we did before, where they're going to be showing us their purebreds here.
Yep, we're going to be showing. We'll be showing purebred barrows. So I mean, it's what they got to represent for their breed, but also as market hogs, they fit that build and mold to end point 260, 70 pounds, and they're going to be their best day, and that's when they're going to end up going to slaughter and going on someone's dinner plate. So this is kind of a different deal than the breeding deal. But it's kind of, we'll be purebreds, and we'll dive right into the crossbreds and stuff. And there's typically not very many in this area, not a whole lot of purebreds.
Why is that?
Simply for the fact that the majority of everything in Western New York or for our state, it's county fair dominant. Our state fair is not real good or real relevant. So we show a lot of crossbreds, market hogs at county fairs. So when you go to a county fair, we're just showing market hogs. 99.9% of the time, a crossbred's going to win. So what is the sense in feeding and showing a purebred just to get behind those guys? But there is a lot of NJSA, National Junior Swine Association shows throughout the country. We actually have one here in October called the Eastern Regional that came here in 2012, I believe was the first year it came here. And it started to grow a little bit. There's been a few more local kids that have got on board and showed pigs and whatnot. So it's grown a little bit, but it's been a little slow start.
Again, we have a pair here that couldn't really be more opposite in terms of where they are today. And as we try to project them out in these lightweight barrows, I think the one has a little brighter future to it. For me, that's one I'm going to go ahead and lead the class with. That's the young man's on the far side. That one does not have the stoutness and all the extras that the young ladies does. For me, though, hers is just too far along right now. That one's too quick, too early. And that one, again, for me, if that one we could get it to utilize its hind leg better, I could talk about that one maybe at the end of the day for us. That one has all the shape you'd ever want. That one, for me, just simply needs to get out and go. And it's getting a little bit of attitude problem for it, too. And I think a great deal of that is due to how restricted it is there out of those rear two. But a really powerful type of hog to land in two. Young man that lands in one, just a balanced, more uniform one for me here today.
Little attitude, says Danny, with the animal.
Yeah, that's a typical Yorkshire.
Congratulations.
They can be a little bit loud and squealy and a little more complicated to work with sometimes.
So can I, Rodney.
Absolutely. 100%. So now we're going to dive into, I guess, the AOB barrows.
Yeah.
So there'll be a couple Durocs and a Berkshire barrow that'll be out here. So a little bit different types and kinds, but there's not very many of them. It's what you have to work with.
So in the purebred, we've got Cody Knoll, Kennedy Whiting, and Trig Knoll.
So I got to ask you a question. Is this
Sure.
your first time doing a pig show?
Rodney, this is my first time doing so much with agriculture and animals. And first time, I've certainly covered pig shows and visited them at the fair, which was more for show and fun.
Yeah.
But nothing as significant and serious as this.
Are you enjoying it?
I love it, and I'm learning a lot. I'm learning about the notches on the ears and the various breeds. Jessica and I were talking about like the Duroc here. They kind of remind me of a pit bull a little bit, with that look. They've got the look.
They act like those too.
Do they?
They are tough and durable and downright mean sometimes.
And as someone who's, I'm a city guy.
Yeah.
I'm an urban cowboy, and I see these animals, and that's why I talked about with Jessica, and we've talked about it now with you. The connection that these young people have with the animal is significant. They're showing the animal. They're there with them from the time they're piglets, and then at some point they make that disconnect, and it's all very interesting to me because you would think that they would not want to make that disconnect because of
It's extremely hard. I mean, I think that's one of the hardest things for little kids. To do. I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, it's one of the hardest things for my wife and myself to do, even with, certain sows or certain boars that we've had there for 4, 5, 6 years that all of a sudden don't become productive, and it's time to let them go.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we all go through it. We'll let Danny talk.
And the shirt says, "Don't be a jerk, use the Burke." And in this case, that's kind of where we land. You got some Durocs that have all kinds of power and mass to them, and you have a Burke that's a little bit overcooked maybe in terms of maybe her show target date was a week or two ago. For me, though, it comes down to which one simply utilizes their hind leg a little bit better than the others. None of them are perfect there. But one has the extra stoutness, extra powers. We talk about a market hog here today. Young ladies, Berkshire lead us off. Young man and with Duroc, he'll be 2. I just need to see that one flex and use its hock a little bit better going away for me. If that one could just change how it actually plants and goes, we could easily talk about that Duroc barrow winning the class. Young lady goes 3, one that just gets rounder made in terms of muscle shape and kind off of both ends. We need to change that one there in terms of that shoulder set to work up there any higher. But a nice class here to do our purebred barrows.
Congratulations. In Class 2 purebred barrows, first place will go to Trig Knoll of Castile, New York. Second, Cody Knoll, and third, Kennedy Whitting. Now in the ring, we'll invite first and seconds back to compete for your champion and reserve champion purebred barrow. Out of Class 1, first place was exhibited by Dylan Knoll of Hamburg, New York. Second place went to Kennedy Whitting of Arcade, New York. And out of Class 2, first place exhibited by Trig Knoll, and second to Cody Knoll. This will be the second call for Market Hogs in Class 1. Second call, Market Hogs Class 1. Please make your way to ringside.
So we have 4 exhibitors out there now.
Yep.
And what are we going to look for
Well,
here,
again,
Rodney?
Here among our 2 class winners. I mentioned that young man's Yorkshire, probably on feed for Perry or on here in Hamburg again in the fall. Not sure where the end target is for that one, kind of one of those off sizes, but one that fits in out here. Again, similar to that Duroc that we just rolled there into 2. Another one just simply needs to utilize his hock a little bit better and actually plant and go and get going for me in comparison with Young Ladies Berkshire. Young Ladies Berkshire is going to be your champion purebred barrow. We'll follow in second with the young man's Yorkshire again. I think they have the same problem between his and the Duroc. I think the Yorkshire offers us a bit more look and extension out of that front third, and then again a little bit more mobility out of the front end there as well. But nice group of purebred barrows here for a county setting.
Congratulations in our purebred barrow division. First place, or champion, will go to Trig Knoll of Castile, New York, and reserved to Dylan Knoll of Hamburg, New York.
So
Now in the ring,
congratulations
we'll
to
look
Trig.
to start our Market Hog division. We'll be looking for Class 1 entries from Dylan Knoll, Lily Underberg, Maya Lindsley, Kennedy Whitting, Austin Knoll, and Amelia Hinstrube.
So now we're
Class 2 Market Hogs, this is your first call to ringside.
Now we're going to go back
Market
and start
Hogs,
all over.
First call to ringside.
Back to the crossbreds.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Rodney,
End of the day.
Rodney Spindler's with us. Rodney, what's your website if you have one?
We just go with the Facebook page, Spindler Show Pigs. The Chinese hacked my website.
Oh, it happens.
True story.
No.
So we never did anything with it. So it's just Spindler Show Pigs on Facebook. Look us up, like it, whatever you want to do with it. There's all sorts of information on there. We post winners, boars we sell semen out of, all that kind of stuff. So all our information's on there.
All
So,
business, Rodney, it seems like. Yeah.
no, we have a lot of fun doing this
Yeah,
too.
I bet.
So it's a great thing. I'm pretty blessed to be able to do this with my family, my kids, and somehow find a way to make a living doing it. And I mean, we eat, breathe, and sleep this thing. I mean, we'll get done here. We'll go back home, and we got, we had a litter of pigs this morning. We got 9 more there to do this weekend. So we're right in the middle of farrowing season, trying to wrap stuff up and go on to the next thing. But it was cool to be able to bring my kids here. They're 6 and 4. So we're not trying to win with our kids, just trying to have some fun and get their feet wet and get in the ring and learn how to do this thing and start somewhere just like we did.
Do it when you can. Well, we're going to take a break. You're all business.
Perfect.
We're all business,
Yep.
too.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Don't go away, Rodney, because I need somebody to help me. We'll be right back here at the Showplex in Hamburg right after this.
On behalf of all your Western New York dairy farmers, we assure you that our job has not changed. We are still caring for our animals as we do every day, and we are still producing a clean and healthy product that you can feel safe serving to your families. All the dairy products that reach your table are also on our own family table, never touched by human hands, and from the farm to the grocery store within 48 hours, 365 days a year, through calm or chaos. We promise.
All right, we are back here at the Showplex in Hamburg, New York, the Erie County Fairgrounds. Rodney Spindler, all business Jessica Underberg with everything.
That is true.
Yeah,
as I was saying, this is his livelihood, so it's all business for him.
And so knowledgeable, and that's one of the things I'm learning, and I hope that our viewers who are watching on Ustream and on WBBZ.TV are learning. It is a business.
Yes.
It's not just cute animals. Not that they aren't cute animals, but they're cute animals and they're cute kids, but it is a business, and there's an end game to all of this.
Yeah. It's interesting, John. I was thinking the other day that when we canceled the fair, just think about just the pig portion. People like Rodney sell less pigs, or people like Danny sell less pigs.
Yeah.
Less feed is sold by the feed companies.
Yeah.
Less veterinarians are doing health papers. It's things like that you don't think of.
It's a trickle down of many, many things. And, of course, then on the other side of it, the vendors that come to do the fair,
right.
the Salvatera, the pizza guy, and, the Baptist Pierogi, and all the people who are vendors, and all of the ride operators and everything. It's been one of those years, Jessica, you just don't know. You can't figure it out. You just have to go day to day.
That's right.
And we all are.
Got to roll with it and be flexible.
Certainly we are, too, at WBBZ, we're finding we're working with a lot of clients like you to develop video because people can't go to events.
Right.
They can't go to their galas that they're used to going to, and so everything has to become virtual.
Well, like all the drive-in concerts and things
people
like
are going
that
to the
are
drive-ins.
happening.
Yeah, they're loving the drive-ins.
Yeah, it's been great for those businesses, I'm sure.
Now, you've got
phenomenal.
the big blast coming up Saturday with fireworks.
Yes, Blast Out Hunger.
Blast Out Hunger, yeah.
Yeah, so we're asking people to bring bags of food for the food bank. In the past, the fair's collected 30 to 40,000 pounds of food. Last year, we collected 53,000 pounds of food. And we know the need is dire. And without the fair, they're lacking those donations. So let's I'm hoping Western New York shows, feed more of Western New York, that we're in it, we're here to help, we're the city of good neighbors. Let's get as much food collected as we can. Let's park the parking lots at the fairgrounds, and let's watch an awesome show of fireworks by Skylighters of Western New York.
My friend Matt Shaw.
He always does a great job,
He's the
right?
best. He's going to have the best show ever this year.
He
it's
loves
gonna be
the
big.
fair.
he loves fireworks.
The fair, and he loves fireworks. That's probably why he and I get along so well.
I miss those nights, the fireworks, right at our gazebo, at WBBZ. You and Matt were right there. We'd play our music, and it was just a fun night. But, we can't look at the past. We have to
look at
move
what
forward.
we can do.
What we can do and move forward, and that's what we're doing. Here's Danny to tell us more.
Shut that one down and save some steps. We're going to see that guy again. That one, I'm not afraid to use a little one at a show, and that one fits me really, really well, guys. I'm anxious to see that one when it gets back out here. I'd like to see it a shot stouter, and I tell you, I'm the first one. If it's a black hog, I usually feeder pig it right away. Those ones on color alone, it's hard for me to like one of them. That one is extra good looking, elevated at the point of his shoulder. Deadly square on all ends. That's a really, really easy place for us there to land. Bright future ahead for that little barrel. The second for me is going to be a young lady driving through with the belted one. This is one, if we can make this guy just a shot taller there at the point of his shoulder, make him blend better there through the crest of his neck, could certainly rival that class winner. That one, I grant you, he has more power than that class winner. And maybe that's where I fault him. He's so big pinned. He wants to come apart a little bit behind. That's one as we continue to future him on down the line. Maybe want to back off just a little bit. but one that has a lot of good and a lot of future in that one there as well. Young man's bluegilt here, another one that, you know, if we'd have talked to her in that breeding gilt deal, you know, that's one that has a lot. There's some monster legs. That one is hard to make in terms of making one that stout. Although when you get that, you get those coarser joints. That's another one in terms of pastern set. If we had not so many shavings out here, you'd all really see it. That one is really down already. We need to change her there. We bring her up on those toes, make her sound her sure-footed out of that front end. We could talk about that one leading us off as well. Young lady driving the other black gilt, been a great stick all day. This is one for me, though. She's going to land in 4 because she wants to close up at her knee. That's one that wants to come in on both ends. We need to open that one up at the ground to work up there any higher. Young lady goes in 5, same way with the belted one. When that one goes away from me again, wants to roll that left rear hock ever so slightly. Bring those toes underneath it. Another one we just make truer and squarer from its hip to hock to ground. That's one we could certainly talk higher. Young lady's blue one that goes in 6. Nice sound, functional hog. We just simply need to see more horsepower in that one.
Congratulations. In Class 1 of our Market Hog Division, first place will go to Dylan Knoll of Hamburg, New York. Second in that class, Lily Underberg. Third, Austin Knoll. Fourth, Amelia Hintz-Strube. Fifth, Kennedy Whitting. And sixth, Maya Lindsley. Now in the ring is Class 2 of our Market Hog Division. We'll be looking for entries from Chase Gerhardt, Julia Britton, Peyton Britton, Owen Poling, Jenna Whitting, Brooke Gerhardt, Sayer Spindler, Chase Gerhardt, and Ashlyn Hackett. Class 3 Market Hogs, this is your call to ringside.
So Rodney's young guy, Sayer, is going to be in here.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Sayer's going to show it. He told me he was a little gun shy.
Oh.
And the first time was in the ring was a little bit earlier, so we'll see if Sayer comes out or if somebody else is going to show it this afternoon.
And is that allowed in competition to make a substitution for the exhibitor?
It is in the breeding divisions because it's more based on the animal and not on the kid.
I see. And yet the exhibitor still has to keep that eye contact with the judge and do all the things that we talked about earlier.
Yep, that's agreed. Still is important.
They're getting noisy now here, Jessica.
They are.
Yeah.
It's dinner time. Maybe their pen mate left to come to the show ring and they're not sure they like that.
Yeah. They seem like a very confident animal. You know, they're just, they know they're here, they're doing their thing, they're very smart, like you said,
Yeah.
they can figure things out. And not docile maybe is the wrong word, but friendly.
Inquisitive.
Yeah, okay.
They're very curious animals.
It's interesting, yeah.
Well, looks like, if I had to guess, looks like maybe the neighbor girl, maybe Quinn Pence decided to show for Sayer.
Okay. Now, the pig races that you have at the fair every year, are those local pigs or are those pigs that are trained to perform?
No, sometimes they're bought locally. You know, they change them out every so often.
Sure. Because that's always a big attraction.
It is. That's funny. And the announcer just makes it perfect.
Yeah.
Just like you, John.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. I'm glad I've done telethons, Jessica. This is, but I'm learning so much. That's what I'm finding so interesting about doing this, and hopefully the viewers can understand that. You know, I'm not an expert. I'm a TV guy, and I'm learning, and I'm trying to keep us focused with what we're doing, so we all learn.
Yeah.
So that if somebody's watching who doesn't understand like I do, they're learning and enjoying along the way.
Well, what's great about it, John, is that you're coming at it from the general public's point of view. And sometimes we're so close to it in agriculture that we forget what we know and what others haven't been privy to.
It is your world.
It is
no,
my
no
world.
question. And I've noticed that it's a wonderful thing about being in television. You get a chance to step into people's worlds.
Mm-hmm.
And then you learn about it, and then you step out of it and you step into somebody else's world.
Right.
So my late great friend Irv Weinstein said, you may have a bad day, but you'll never have a boring day with television. And
I think you could say the same about being a fair manager.
Yeah. Well, Kirby did a wonderful tribute to you.
Nice.
That was really nice.
I was talking with Jessica before the show today about kids in agriculture and, you know, choosing that career path. And where the demand is. And guys, this is a class of hogs. I promise you, if any of you are interested in going to vet school to pursue that end of things, there's a really big market, at least over in Ohio, where veterinarians are getting paid a lot of money to try to make all of our myself included, all of our bad hogs better in terms of trim and feet. This is a group here, when you look at each of these hogs, almost across the board, every one of these hogs, if we invest that extra money and square them up on their toes, it costs about $150 in a trip to Upper Sandusky, Ohio, or out to Richmond, Indiana. I don't know if you have a vet here locally that can do it, but there's a huge opportunity for kids interested in swine. If you could learn that one skill, you could make a lot of money trying to repair some of our bad hogs the rest of our life. But these hogs are all great for the freezer, all of those things, but when we talk about them in the show ring, every one of them needs squared up on their hock. And if you look at them back in the pens, I'd bet you money one of their inside or outside toe is longer than the other. And a lot of these pigs were really good one point in their life. That young man's calico, I bet that's an exceptional baby pig. That is one that I'm sure brought a good bit of money. Really, really good. That one just wants to crank apart on us. If we could square that one up, could certainly talk about that one possibly even winning the class. But just need to change that one behind for me. Same can be said for a lot of these as we ease them out.
And there's Danny Aarons, and he's the judge, and he's just terrific.
Congratulations in Class 2. We will now be reworking Chase Gerhardt, Peyton Bennett, Brooke Gerhardt, Sayers Spindler, and Ashlyn Hackett.
So the Class 2 market hogs are what we just saw. And now we're coming into the Class 3 market hogs. And those exhibitors are going to be coming out soon in just a little bit. We're going to stay on here. Jessica Underberg had to run out for a second. They're trying to get one of the animals back into the pen. The first time I've seen one of the pigs kind of go off on their own. But the handler's bringing him back. Let's see if he makes it back. It's one of the Durocs. Might be coming back. We'll see. There's a lot going on for these animals here. I mean, certainly they're outside of their element from where they're used to being raised. And they're coming now into a situation with other animals, and now they're going to come out. There he comes. He's going to have a good day. All right, he's good to go. I should make mention, as Jessica did, Artmeyer supplying all this bedding. This is really significant because these animals need all of this bedding, believe me, because they're animals, and the bedding is very important to keep it fresh as it can be. Clyde's Feed and Animal Center, Amanda Bruckman and our friend Jim, they have Hamburg and Lockport locations, and Clyde's Feed and Animal Center are a terrific co-sponsor for us. And we're joining Russell Steaks, Chops, and More. Russell Salvatore, my good friend, he couldn't be here today. He's running his restaurant, but he wanted to help the youth because that's what we're here for, the Western New York Youth and Ag Bonanza. The youth that you see here are competing, and they haven't been able to compete because of COVID and the restrictions at other shows. So we're happy to have all of the youth here with our sponsors and the folks that are bringing it to you on Ustream and WBBZ.TV. I hope you're watching and enjoying it from wherever you might be. If you're a parent or a grandparent or a relative of some of the young people.
This class is really challenging, even as many
it.
hogs as we're in it. There's not that one to just reach out and grab you like there were in some of the others. At the end of the day, I kind of just gravitate toward the one that's not really messed up, or at least yet anyway. In terms of one just stays together, I'd like to see this one come with a bit more sharpness to his loin edge here at this time. Young lady's black Giotto. She's going to lead us off in this particular heat. That's one I think just puts the most pieces together. One a sound, functional level, good use of his rear leg, stays true and square to the ground in comparison to the four below it. That's where I think she just simply excels the class. For second, it gets a whole lot closer in terms of where do you go, which one do you utilize. They all need change in their rear too. There's a couple of them in different ways. I'm going to go ahead and use the young lady on the far side, one that gets a little bit rounder made, maybe a bit shorter hipped, but that is one that still carries so much bulk and power and mass and still really attractive through his front 1/3. That one, to me, has to land toward the top of the class. Third for me, I'm going to come back to young lady's Duroc. I wish we could have saw that one in the purebred drive. Maybe just didn't have the papers in order, whatever the case may be. That's one I think would have competed for champion purebred barrow if it was out here against that Berkshire and some of the others. But, you know, one that I think offers us a lot of positives there. just simply doesn't offer that same elevation at the point of his shoulder and compared to two ahead of it. Again, another one we just need to take a bigger step off its right rear. Young ladies is kind of coming apart on its back end there, painted up 1 and 4. I love that gilt from just a side profile look and so opened up. And then that's also the same problem that hinders it going away. That one just kind of blew outside of itself there. That's one, I'm not saying she can't make a great one in the next generation. That's one that I would certainly take a chance on if you can find somebody's house for her to land at and get bred. That's one worth taking a risk on, but that one is extra, extra wide. And the young lady that goes 5, another one for me. We just need to square up behind and make it more secure when it plants and drives.
And that's Danny Aarons, our judge.
Congratulations. In Class 2, Market Hogs, first place goes to Brooke Gerhardt of East Aurora, New York. Second, Ashlyn Hackett. Third, Peyton Britton. Fourth, Sayer Spindler. And fifth, Chase Gerhardt. Now in the ring will be Class 3 of Market Hogs. We'll be looking for Julia Uranick, Jenna Whitting, Boston Hackett, Patrick DeJoseph, Corinne Zakalowski, Leslie Mesh, and Jenna Whitting. Class 4, Market Hogs, this is your call to ringside.
So now we're up to Class 3. The name of the animal that Brooke Gerhardt won with, Little Scrunchy. Like that name. Yeah, Little Scrunchy. Remember those for the hair when the girls were little? Yeah. Little scrunchies.
Right, scrunchies?
Yeah.
So these pigs all weigh between 223 pounds and 231 pounds.
That pig weighs 230 pounds?
Yes.
No kidding. They wear it well, Jessica.
They do wear it well.
Yeah.
You'd never know.
No.
And coming out now is Boston Hackett. This kid plays more sports than anybody I know.
No kidding.
Football player, baseball player, wrestling. Had the chance to go to state champions and no state championship this year.
Good for him.
Yeah, and he shows pigs.
Yeah, stays focused. In reading some of the contestant information, you find that, they're animal lovers. They're loving their sports. They love their Buffalo Bills.
They do a lot of different things. They're not just pig showmen.
Right. Only one animal, while you stepped away, had a little hiccup.
Yeah.
It was a little out of sorts. Only one though.
You'll have a day like that.
Yeah.
It happens,
It
right?
does. I'm surprised that the music doesn't, give them a reason to react. I mean, I guess they're used to it in the barns if people play music and stuff.
Well, anytime you're around a teenager, the music's loud.
Yeah,
so I know in our barn the music's usually jamming while Lily and Elle are up there feeding and walking and washing pigs.
Makes sense.
Yeah. They get accustomed. My dad used to tell me at the farm that our cows would not milk well if we listened to rock and roll, so it only had to be country. I think it was his ploy to just keep our fingers off the dial. Right. Back in the day when you had to tune in.
Yes, I remember those days,
yes.
Jessica, yeah.
It's fun in these classes because you see kids from all ages, because now we're focused on the pigs and the conformation of the animal. So it is fun to see the different ages and abilities.
Active.
Yes.
It's everybody's moving around.
Pig shows are not boring.
No, not at all.
And they're quick moving.
Yeah, I can't get over this judge. He sees things. I mean, Pat did too with the cattle and the cows, but boy, he really sees some things in these pigs.
And he hones right in on those, right? A lot of times you'll find judges who are really stickler for certain things.
Yeah.
Usually structure, flexibility, stoutness, things like that. But some are just real stickler on certain points, and they like what they like. But as a judge, he can only pick from what is in the ring right now. If none of these may be his type, but he has to pick a first through a fifth.
Got it. And here he goes.
Yes.
Again, a really challenging class to line up where there's not that one to just absolutely grab a hold of you. Again, the one that offers us the least amount of faults for me, a young lady with the thin belted one over on the rail. She's going to lead us off. That one has extra height at the point of its shoulder and offers us enough look and one that just can get out and go in comparison with so many of the others out here. The second for me is going to be a young man with the other thin-belted one here. Another one for me, I guess, in terms of just look and design and build and actual plant and go and use that hind leg. I've said that so many times today, and you'll notice among some of the other pigs out here, when you're looking at them from the sidelines or if you're watching on TV, we're looking for those ones that actually extend past the rear part of their body, and they'll actually get out and plant and use that leg rather than just picking it up in short step. And to me, those top two did that better than any of them out here. They had to find their way toward the top. And then where do you go from there? You know, all the rest of them to me need squared up off their rear end. A couple of them need pulled apart at the ground. At the end of the day, a mentor of mine, Dan Frobos, a number of years ago, told me, when in doubt, go with muscle. When they're all structurally not the greatest, go with muscle. And that's where the young lady's Power Hog over here in 3, one that's been giving her a hard time the whole drive. That one has all those extras. We just absolutely need to clean that one up in its hock joints to compete with those top two. But that one is absolutely loaded with power. As we talk about them as a market hog or going to the rail, that one's going to offer us a high yielding carcass there. And as we talk about the rest of them in the same kind of light, the one that follows next best in kind for me, the young lady's blue saddled one there. That one's going to be 4. Again, one that's extra stout featured. We just need to make that one a bit more attractive, squared up as you see it in that rear third there. And then the young lady on the far end by the gate, much the same as young lady's blue one, just not as stout featured as that one there at lands in 4. Let's give all these youngsters a hand as they head back.
All right. So Kirby will tell us the names.
Yes. We were talking earlier, John, about livestock judging and the ability to go to school to learn that
Congratulations
skill.
in Class 3 Market Hogs. First place will go to Jenna Whitting of Arcade, New York. Second, Patrick DeJoseph. Third, Corinne Sakalowski. Fourth, Jenna Whitting. And fifth, Leslie Mesh. Now in the ring will be Class 4 in our Market Hog divisions. Entries from Mila Lindsley, Nathan Blair, Julia Urinick, Trevor Beats, Aubrey Gerhart, Julia Britton, Josh Carter, and Nathan Blair. This will be the first call for Class 5. First call, Class 5, Market Hogs, make your way to ringside.
And so the ability to reason, make a choice, stand behind your decision, and even like he was saying, none of these are my kind, but I have to choose one from this class. That's a life skill. And to be able to make a decision on your feet and stand behind it.
With the knowledge behind it. Jenna's animal, by the way, was named Emu. Thought our
We
viewers
should have
would
a
like to know
contest
that.
for the funniest name.
I noticed, maybe I missed it in the cows earlier in the breeds that we saw. I didn't see the names.
I'll have to
Maybe
look
I just
back.
missed it.
Yeah, I think they were in there. Probably not as fun because they were registered names and usually have a farm prefix and things like that in it. And these are named by the kids, so it's a lot more.
And the entries, talk to us how these individuals for all the shows came to be. You put a call out online.
Yes.
And
so initially when we canceled the fair, we knew that we wanted to do something for the youth. And so it just seemed to be a natural fit that we use the 8 Western New York counties that are in the New York's reopening plan. And so we approached the county and said, this is what we'd like to do. And we thought that it fit perfectly with their Erie Grown initiative because these are our next generation of farmers.
Yeah.
And so to keep them going and show off their hard work and give them an opportunity to be in the show ring, we said, okay. The other thing is, too, John, from the pandemic standpoint, we're only having people here that are from our local area already. Right. Even the food vendors, most of them live right down the road.
Right.
So
hyper local.
Yes, so we're not bringing in outsiders at this point, and but what is fun is that we are getting the kids from all 8 counties that really love the show, and you don't always get that, and you don't get it. You get it early on in some preview shows, but you don't get it at the finish level, and so that to me has been fun to watch.
So you're getting the best of the best in these various classes for these animals.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're hoping that we don't have to do this again. But this was exactly that. It was the opportunity for the best of the best from all of the 8 Western New York counties.
But I will say, putting it online is interesting for people to see, because they get a chance to see the animals and everything, and it's so easy to do now. You know, you're able to, with the technology. It's amazing to me how things can be seen. So the animals are there. We're looking in this class. There's a few more classes to go.
Yeah, but we're not too
Everybody-
many.
yeah.
We're clipping right along.
So this is class 4, the market hogs. We have class 5, 6, and 7.
And 8.
And 8.
Yeah,
there we
so
are.
4 more classes.
And then
And
after
our
that, the
championship.
champion comes from. And will the champion come from everything we've seen over
It'll
the?
come from the 8 market hog classes.
I see.
So you should have 8 in the ring and maybe 8 on the sides as their reserves, but it should come from the 8 market hog classes. And it's getting, you know, little, what is it? It's almost 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
A little late for the little kids, a little late for the pigs.
Yeah. Is there a sleepy time that the animals tend to go down?
Typically, you know, your barn gets into a routine, you know,
Yeah.
just like your house. If you're typically in bed by 9 o'clock, then, you know, when it gets to be 10 o'clock, maybe somebody gets a little cranky.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and the barn is the same way. One of my favorite things to do is to be in the barn at night when things are settled in and quiet. That's one of my favorite places to be.
Well, again, we bring some heat here in our crossbred drive. It's been a minute since saw a couple that really hit me super hard, and a young man's black one does just that. That one has to lead us off. I'd like to see this one come at us a bit stouter in terms of overall feature and bone work, but that one is so good looking, and oh my goodness, the freshness of top. And that one, you guys can't really appreciate it ringside or back in the barn, but that one, you get up on top of it. That one's had a tremendous feed bucket on it leading up to this show. In my mind, in terms of balance and fill and build, guys, that's right where we want one. When we talk about them being 12 o'clock, that one is dialed in. I'd certainly like to clean up that little bit of gland issue or fat pocket it's got going on underneath. It's not real noticeable, but in the market hog drive, honestly, we don't get too hard on that like we would maybe in our breeding gilt side of things. But that one is extra square all the way around. Really, really easy place here to land to lead us off. Young man's blue, and that's one when it first hit the ring, I thought, well, there's an easy class winner. Then we kind of hit the other one there. His is one, too. When we get it fired back up, wants to get a little bit shorter strided, shorter stepping out of those hind two, but love the power and mass that one possesses. When we talk about feature and stoutness of skeleton, that's where he excels, the class winner. That one still has a tremendously good jowl line. Really, really powerful type of barrel there to land in 2. The young lady's blue one's going to go 3rd for me. That's one, again, one that's getting harder for her to handle out here in terms of wanting to be a little bit harder headed. Not very good dance partner out here for her today. But one from a build standpoint offers us that extra stoutness that we need. We just need to make that one a bit more elevated, but I love how busted open she is when she comes right at me. Really good gilt there to land in 3. 4th for me is going to be a young man with the belted barrow out here on the far end. This is one that young man's done a great job showing for us all day as well. Another one, we just simply need to see that one come with a bit more shape. Like the dimension that one has to offer, just needs some true natural muscle shape. Like to see that one take a bigger reach off of its rear end there as well. Young lady's Duroc's going to round us out in 5. Another one, the sharpness and freshness in that one. A really good type of market hog as we talk about that one heading to the rail.
How does he see a fat pocket? I don't know how you do that.
If you look in the back, between their back legs or from the side, you can see kind of a glandular. It's pretty common.
Wow.
It's pretty common.
Because he knows what he's looking for.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I think if he says he found one that he really liked out of the last class, he's probably going to say that one hits him hard out of this class.
Congratulations in Class 4, first place will go to Nathan Blair of Elma, New York. 2nd, Josh Carter. 3rd, Aubrey Gerhart. 4th, Trevor Beats. And 5th, Julia Britton. Now in the ring is Class 5, Market Hogs. Entries from Dylan Knoll, Allison McNamara, Amelia Hint-Strube, Brooke Uranick, Jocelyn Mesh, Trevor Beats, Nora Hayes, Quinn Pence, and Ashlyn Hackett. Class 6, Market Hogs, make your way to ringside.
So we're into Class 5, and we're going to go up to 8 in this class. All
that's right.
So as the Class 5 animals come out into the pen, we're going to take a short break, meet some of the sponsors. L.A. Woolly Electric, they're here with us.
Yes.
Yeah, Lindy, formerly Praxair, they've been helping us.
Yes.
And these sponsors are helping us too. We'll meet them now in just a minute as we take a break from the Showplex in Hamburg, New York.
Milk and cheese and yogurt make me sing every day, 'cause milk is amazing. Drink milk to grow up with strong bones. 3 times a day, vitamin D and calcium. So drink it with chocolate, put it on your pizza. How about berries? It's always a treat. Milk is amazing.
The Erie County Fairgrounds in Hamburg, New York. One of the Northeast premier agriculture and entertainment destinations. Home to the Erie County Fair, the Fairgrounds Event Center, Buffalo Raceway, Hamburg Gaming, and host to nationally recognized livestock, ag industry shows, and award-winning ag education programs. Annually, the state-of-the-art Agriculture Discovery Center and Showplex buildings attract thousands of participants and their livestock for events like the Empire State Beef Classic, the Spring Dairy Preview, and the National Junior Swine Association Eastern Regional Hog Show. Located near Buffalo and the U.S.-Canadian border, the Erie County Fairgrounds is a convenient drive from points across the East. Where competitors and champions grow, we'll see you soon at the Erie County Fairgrounds in Hamburg, New York.
Milk for Health presents the Western New York Youth in Ag Bonanza, live to you at home, where youth from the 8 counties of Western New York will compete in livestock judging and showmanship in various categories. Live from the Showplex on the Erie County Fairgrounds in Hamburg, New York, Milk for Health presents the Western New York Youth in Ag Bonanza.
Yeah, it's right behind, and we need to see that one come with more power and shape. Love the look that one has on the side. Just kind of ran into a buzzsaw of a class here and compared to some of the ones ahead of it. Nice one to be sending back to the barn, though.
So there they go, and this is Class 5, and Kirby's going to tell us who they are.
I don't think we know yet.
Class 5 staying to compete will be Dylan Knoll, Allison McNamara, Amelia Hintstrube, Quinn Pence, and Ashlyn Hackett.
Pretty good either